This business meeting of the Board of Education of the Cleveland Municipal School District will come to order. Mr. Stockdale, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Ellicott?
Here.
Mr. Billups?
Here.
Mr. Briggs?
Here.
Ms. Jones? Pastor Jones? Mrs. LeBron?
Here.
Mrs. Peak?
Here.
Dr. Sridhar? Mrs. Welch-Howe? There are 5 members present.
Ask everyone who wishes to rise and participate in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone who made it in through the rain, and thankfully we don't have a tornado as far as I can tell. We're going to go ahead and start with our public participation period. During this segment of the business meeting, we will hear all public comment on either agenda or non-agenda items. This public participation period will be for persons who previously submitted the online request to speak form to address the board for up to 3 minutes each. We will have timers on the screen, and if you're at time, I ask you to finish your sentence and conclude your remarks. We'll start with Logan Gernacki. Logan Gernacki. London Johnson. London Johnson. Lisa Riley. Lisa Riley. Alicia Dodson. Alicia Dodson.
Good evening. I just want you all to take a really good look at my t-shirt, because my t-shirt is going to be a part of what I'm speaking about. Okay, my name is Alicia Dodson, and I stand here today as a Community College and Career Center Coordinator with CMSD. I am proud of the work we do. Every day we guide students toward futures filled with opportunity, futures that include post-secondary education, strong career pathways, and the confidence to imagine more for themselves than they ever thought possible. This is why the current direction of the PCIA and the 5C Memorandum of Understanding is so deeply concerning. These changes do not simply reorganize roles, they demote dedicated professionals and reduce our salaries despite increasing needs in our schools and our communities. We are being asked to do more for students while being told we are worth less. This is not sustainable, and it is not respectful. Affordability in Ohio is already slipping out of the reach for working families. Housing costs are rising, utilities are rising, groceries, medical care, and transportation are all rising. Yet somehow, in the middle of this economic reality, we are being asked to accept a pay cut, one that will directly affect our households, our children, and our ability to remain in the very communities that we serve. We cannot advocate for college affordability, career readiness, and long-term economic mobility for our students while we are being pushed into financial instability ourselves. When the professionals responsible for preparing young people for their own futures cannot afford their own, the system is broken. The PCIA and 5C MOU should be designed to strengthen student support, not weaken the people who provide it. We are committed to CMSD. We are committed to our students. I am a 17-year professional with CMSD. We show up early, we stay late, we bridge gaps that go far beyond job descriptions, but dedication cannot and should not be used as a justification for devaluing our labor. Today, I am asking for one thing: honor the work, honor the roles, honor the impact. Revisit this MOU with fairness, transparency, and respect for the individuals who breathe life into these very initiatives. Our students deserve fully supported staff, and we deserve to make a living wage while we uplift their futures.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you.
Dodson. Lakeisha Tuggle.
Good evening, CEO Morgan, Board of Education members, and all other community stakeholders present tonight. My name is Lakeisha, and I am a CMSD LPN and the CTU LPN Assistant Chapter Chair-elect for the LPNs. My last time speaking here was about LPNs and how we could maintain a space in CMSD beyond the mergers. However, I'm a firm believer in the scripture, and to be exact, Habakkuk 2:2 says, write the vision and make it plain upon tablets, so I don't have to spin the block, but I could if I wanted to. Tonight, as we wrap up Women's History Month, I came to share a pleasant and memorable experience related to making this transition as smooth as possible. I want to take this opportunity to publicly shout out to administrators and their teams, respectively, Principal Turner of FDR and Principal Benson of STJ. They set the gold standard of how this transition can work smoothly and successfully for their teams and ultimately their students, families, and all other community members alike. On the most recent PD day, back in February, I was assigned as a co-presenter for STJ and FDR. That morning, more than a few of us went into the building with obvious apprehension and nervous glances. Nervous glances because after all, this was unfamiliar and uncharted territory. However, almost immediately through their leadership, we were met with warmth, reassurance, and unlimited possibilities of how this merger could be successful, not only that day, but for the long run ahead. The day was well-crafted with top-tier professionalism, intentionality, care, and grace. All of these components meshed together made me realize that my own hesitation was simply fear of the unknown. Over the years, I have seen many instances of disregard, just going with the flow, and even the mistreatment of talented employees. This day, however, made me realize that, that's my work alarm, I'm off today. This day, however, made me realize that there are still teams led by high-quality administrators who do the work with ease, class, integrity, and intentionality when no one of the district level of importance is in the room. These administrators made the most of a difficult situation, and it's reassuring to know that we do have a gold standard of collaborative and authentic leadership between STJ and FDR. It also proves that everything is not best in the West. Way to go, Principal Benson, Principal Turner, and their collective team members alike. Tonight, I simply wanted to recognize what excellence in leadership looks like and to remind us that when collaboration, respect, and intentionality lead the way, everyone benefits. Happy Women's History Month, everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Tuggle. Jamila Gaines. Jamila Gaines. Sarah Spinelli. Sarah Spinelli. Devin Demask. Devin Demask. Carrie Ewert Crocker. Carrie Ewert Crocker.
Good evening. My name is Carrie E.K. I'm a CMSD employee, but I'm here tonight as the parent of 2 CMSD scholars who are students at Tremont Montessori. I am grateful to see the Montessori program continue in our district. I am concerned about the district's dedication to high-fidelity implementation of our special programs curricula. My children have amazing, experienced Montessori credentialed teachers and paraprofessionals. They bask every day in the glow of adults who know how to differentiate in every subject for every child, who know how to link special interest and developing skills, who celebrate their strengths and tend their weaknesses. They support my children as they write papers on the Cold War and make diagrams of the stages of the formation of the Earth, as they use didactic materials to learn grammar and geometry, squaring and cubing. The incredible savvy and depth of knowledge of these educators is astonishing. This is why I find it so perplexing that these adults are being made to push aside their training, knowledge, and years of experience to implement district-mandated curriculum and programming. These teachers are being pushed to spend their time reading excerpts with their classes instead of the amazing books they once shared, forced to strip math of its magic and boil it down to workbooks and worksheets, obliged to put time and energy into overseeing the iReady pathways. They are trying to fit their Montessori in around the edges. They are being forced to push aside the skill and craft they have developed for years on a curriculum that they have received less than a week's worth of training on. Do educators prioritize district-mandated curriculum at the risk of their hard-won Montessori accreditation? Or do they risk reprimand from the district when they don't? These teachers are being put in a terrible position. No one can serve two masters. This dilemma affects our children just as much as the teachers. My children are the light of my life. They are clever, funny, curious, independent learners. They are voracious readers and passionate community members. They are who they are because of their experience as Montessori students, and we are grateful every day for Tremont. But they feel the pressure from outside forces in their classrooms. They sit at the dinner table with us and discuss the freely chosen work they do with their teachers and their peers, and then they bemoan that they were stuck reading an excerpt instead of a book. They talk about having to stop the work that they were doing on a timeline to get their minutes in on iReady, which, as my 10-year-old tells me, will tell you the correct answer for something, but never explain why it was wrong and never show you how to fix it. They wonder how long iReady will stay, longer than Amira, Waterford, Zern. They ask me, why won't the district let us do our Montessori work? And I don't know how to answer. Cleveland was an early adopter of public sector Montessori, far before Montessori was a buzzword. I have stood before this body before, and I have heard you state your commitment to special programs and to Montessori. I want to have faith in all of this, and yet I am observant. I have seen a district commitment in the past 2 years to a level of conformity that belittles skilled educators and restricts special model programs from following the model that makes them notable.
Thank you,
My
Ms.
kids love
EK.
their Montessori school because it's a Montessori school.
Thank you.
For their sake and for their teachers, please let it remain one in both word and deed. Thank you for your time.
Kelly Lardy.
Nobody's listening. I've seen so many people step up to this podium in the past year and address this board with concerns, and it's evident that nobody is listening. So I'm going to continue facing Dr. Morgan and the board, but I'm going to address parents and community members. There are things you may want to know. Decisions are being made for the convenience of district-level administrators, not children. Educators that have been in the district for 10, 20, or 30 years and are with your children daily are being left out of the conversation. I stood up here at the beginning of this year and asked that our accredited Montessori program at Tremont be saved. On paper, that request was granted. In reality, it was not. We are being told that Montessori curriculum cannot be the primary curriculum at our Montessori school, that we must use HMH as our primary curriculum, iReady as our secondary curriculum, and Montessori if there is time. Families that are celebrating their positions at Waverly need to know that we are going to have to carve out what time we can for your children who engage in Montessori's intrinsically motivated, child-centered educational process. We will have to fight the use of a scripted curriculum that requires your child to be a passive learner represented by a data point. This makes me wonder about other specialty schools. If you're a parent at Campus International K-8, you may want to ask if the educators there are being allowed to use the IB program as their primary curriculum. No need to ask why time-honored curriculums are being pushed to the side. I can give you that answer. Their results cannot be fit into the tables and graphs that so please adults that haven't been in a classroom in years. You may also want to know that throughout the district, countless professional development hours have been spent showing my colleagues and I how to navigate HMH and iReady platforms so that we can be good data collectors, instead of providing continuous education on best practices and recent research so that we can continue to be good educators. People who are out of touch with what is actually needed in schools and classrooms are making educational decisions based on which curriculum and processes can create the best spreadsheets and graphs. This fits adults' needs, not students' needs. The people that know what works for our students are willing to speak, but nobody is listening. You may also want to ask if your child's favorite paraprofessional will still have a job after this reconfiguration. I know the paraprofessional that I share my classroom with is an amazing educator. She is everything we want for our students: caring, compassionate, dedicated. She was a CMSD kid and believes in CMSD kids. Unfortunately, she and other great paraprofessionals in our district are facing the possibility of losing their positions because they too are just another data point. So when you view the PowerPoint that is inevitably coming, ask yourself if the tables and graphs depict a true representation of what is happening in our schools, or maybe if it's just the most convenient tool for the adults far removed from our buildings and classrooms. And then ask the educators in your child's building what's really going on. It's time to pull back the curtain and see what's really moving the levers. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lardy. Trina Saxon. Trina Saxon. Errol Savage.
Chair Ellicott, you and the other board members may find this hard to believe, but when I was in school, I was often in some type of mischief for one reason or another. Usually it had to do with me saying something that some adult didn't want to hear. And at the elementary school that I went to, when you'd get in trouble, you had to stand next to the outside of the gymnasium wall and watch all the other kids play. Now, I didn't care about that because I didn't want to play with the other kids anyways. But I remember one of the recess aides used to come up and talk to me. And she'd ask me what I wanted to be when I'd grow up, and I'd tell her, well, they're treating me like a criminal, so I'll just start acting. She'd move past that and say, well, Errol, you like to read, and maybe you'd like to come back to school as a school librarian. And I remember saying, well, I don't really like a lot of the adults here. And I'm certain that under her breath she said she didn't either. But I remember one day when she was talking to me, because no matter how often I stood by the wall, she would always stand there next to me. She pulled out a Reese's Cup candy bar. And like a lot of people in life that I realize now I should have cared for more at the time than I ever could have imagined, we bonded over food. And I remember knowing that she cared about me, and I cared about her. And when I think of her now, I think about our school paraprofessionals, our PCIAs, our coordinators, our school lunch ladies, our first-year teachers, often the lowest paid people in the district, but the ones that have the closest connection to children. Often the lowest paid people in the district, but the ones that live in the community and are voting members of the public that support our levies again and again and again. And these people come to me and tell me they're worried about losing their jobs. And I'm just so disappointed to think that we have administrators that have received raises in the tens and tens of thousands of dollars, far more than many of these paraprofessionals make in a given year, but they're the ones who this deficit has to be balanced off of. Chair Ellicott, this Board of Education a few meetings ago was called a rubber stamp board. I really thought that was an unfair characterization. If you were a rubber stamp board, I wouldn't have any respect for you. And Chair Ellicott, if I didn't have any respect for you, I wouldn't speak to you. I'm certain that this isn't a rubber stamp board. I'm also certain I'm not a rubber stamp union leader. And I'm not going to watch the district lay off our most engaged members or cut their jobs or cut their salaries when we've got other people that maybe we could share the pain with a little bit and have some other cuts. I hope this Board of Education will direct the district to think of other alternatives. I hope this Board of Education will direct the district to share their financials with me on April 10th so that we can sit down and talk about this together. Thank you, Chair Ellicott.
Thank you, Mr. Savage. Martha Lothridge.
Good evening, members of the school board, Dr. Morgan. My name is Martha Lockridge, and I'm the Director of Philanthropy and Partnerships for Montessori Development Partnerships, MDP. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you tonight about the 2-acre community garden owned by CMSD next to the Stonebrook White Montessori campus. As CMSD makes decisions about properties that will no longer house schools, I want to make the Board of Education aware of this 2-acre community garden and of organizations that are committed to revitalizing the garden for the community and for CMSD scholars. The garden serves as a hub for the community and is especially important for making fresh food available in a food desert. This garden has been an important part of the community ever since the Michael R. White Building, formerly the Miles Standish Building, was constructed in 1921. Back in the day, students had garden plots. Former Mayor Michael White discovered his love of agriculture in that garden. For many years, the garden was managed by the community. During the pandemic, Fumiko's Foundation stepped in to help manage community gardeners. A combination of many factors have led the garden falling into disrepair and making it next to impossible for community gardeners to have productive harvests or for educational purposes. The Stonebrook property, owned by MDP, shares a border with the garden, and MDP is willing to take a leadership role in revitalizing the garden in collaboration with community-based organizations. As CMSD vacates our building, we're in the process of forming the Stonebrook Montessori Hub, which will now host multiple organizations. Together with Fumiko's Foundation, Food Strong, Resource Cleveland, and My Grow Connect, we would like to be able to direct revitalization efforts, which will be no small feat. The garden is completely overrun by groundhogs, has a broken irrigation system, and it's going to take a lot of financial and human labor to bring it back to life. We've been in touch with Chief Karen Thompson about the garden and the possibility of a sale-leaseback so that we can collectively plan, raise funds, clean up, and get it going again. Food Strong already works with CMSD schools, and other partners want to do out-of-school time programs for students. So please consider exempting the community garden from the school building reuse process with the City of Cleveland and making arrangements for strategically positioned nonprofit and community organizations to revitalize the garden. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That concludes our period of public participation. This evening's consent agenda includes the minutes of the last board meeting.
I was signed up to speak, but due to a tornado warning,
What's your name?
About 5 minutes late. We still have time to speak.
What's your name?
Lisa Riley.
Yeah, go ahead. Lisa Riley.
I am a special ed paraprofessional at Garfield in the preschool. Certain people think I'm wasting my time coming here to speak. They think that you don't listen. Some people even are telling me that we're all being set up to fail. I honestly don't think that that's true. I think that the district is a huge investment property, and you're in charge of the money, you're in charge of the data, things that I can't even pretend to understand. But I do know that you wouldn't invest in a property without checking that the foundation is sound. And that you should probably ask the people that are in the building what some of the issues are that you might help fix. I'm one of the people coming and pleading with you and telling you that the foundation is broken, and this is your opportunity to invest in the students and start and watch the difference that you can make. This is not a reflection on my awesome administration or any of the teachers that I work with. It's more about enrollment and overcrowding, and I'm actually referencing kindergarten, not preschool. When I was in kindergarten, there were only 15 students in a room. When my own children went through Riverside, there were 20 in a room. Now, every year for the past 12 years, I have witnessed 28 to 34 children getting dropped off in one classroom on day one. Most of them have never been to school, have never been assessed, and I don't even know that a regular education environment is the right setting for some of these kids. It seems like every year, on average, there are 6 of them that are put up for SST, Maybe the parents are in denial and they think that kindergarten is just going to fix them. The number of children on IEPs in 504 seems like it just increases every year. I have witnessed multiple children who are still in pull-ups, they don't speak English, many without proper paperwork, and I just don't think that one teacher expected to organize and instruct them all is what's best for those kids. You have children who cry for weeks, they run from the room, they have bathroom accidents, children who are throwing chairs and even threatening people with scissors. They are brought to the cafeteria for lunch and they don't know how to open their food and are only given 20 minutes before they are put outside for recess. This is your time to help and fix the foundation, and it sounds like there might have some paras that are going to be looking for positions next year. So why not place a para in each kindergarten that has more than 20 students? Why not require basic assessment at the end of the school year or at the beginning to verify if a typical classroom is what's best? Why not create more co-taught kindergartens to absorb the numbers from all of the special ed preschools? Please help us to make the most out of their first year. What kind of a classroom would you want your own 5-year-old to be in? And if you watch them grow and get to where they need to be by the end of kindergarten, they'll be better in first grade, and those test scores by third grade will go through the roof.
Thank you, Ms. Riley. Before we move on, is there anyone else who has signed up who wasn't able to make it at the beginning? All right, seeing none, we will move on. Again, this evening's consent agenda includes the minutes of the last board meeting, 1 Board of Education resolution, 3 finance resolutions, 1 academic resolution, 1 IT resolution, 15 legal resolutions, and 4 excellence and culture resolutions. The chair will now entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda consisting of items 4.02 through 10.04 as set forth in the board agenda.
So move.
Thank you. Mr. Stockdale, will you please call the roll on this motion?
Ms. Ellicott,
Yes.
Mr. Billups,
Yes.
Mr. Briggs,
Yes.
Ms. Jones, Mrs. LeBron,
Yes.
Mrs. Peak.
Yes.
Motion passes with 6 votes.
Thank you. The minutes are approved and the resolutions are adopted. The board will now hold its monthly monitoring of goals and guardrails. Dr. Morgan?
Thank you, Chair Ellicott, and good evening, everyone. I'm glad we were able to make it here to the board meeting. I know it was quite a dash to get here, and the weather was not cooperating, but it was, for the most part of today, it was a very beautiful day. I'm happy to be here this evening to share some updates of where we are on building brighter futures. So this progress monitoring that we're doing specifically is the board's charge on where we are with some building brighter futures KPIs. What I'm really excited about tonight as the team comes into position here. There are many operational aspects of building brighter futures that there are questions about, in terms of staffing, budgeting, that we often talk about. But the plan of building brighter futures is to ensure all scholars have expanded opportunities. That's the goal of building brighter futures. And even as I heard the comments tonight, everyone really wants to ensure that we have a school system where no matter where kids go to school, no matter how they look like, their position, that they have access to a high quality education. And that's what the process and the plan of building brighter futures is about. Tonight, I'm really excited to share updates with the board on where we are to those promises that we talk about in building brighter futures, because there's been a lot of work underway to make sure we're prepared for the fall and making sure that we're living into this brighter future. So just a reminder of what the 2 goals of building brighter futures are on this Venn diagram. You have the goal to ensure all scholars have access to high quality and expanded opportunities, and at the same time improving financial sustainability within the system. Putting those 2 together is our plan for building brighter futures. Some updates I want to share with you. This week is assignment week. Scholars started to receive their assignments as of yesterday. Those who applied via SchoolMint during the choice portal window between January 5th and February 27th, most families received an email yesterday. And as they're getting their 3rd quarter report card, which they're getting this week, they'll also get their assignment. There's a video of one scholar as she was opening up her, I know I shared it up on my socials, as she was opening up her assignment to go to John Hay so she's really excited about that. And then we also just want to share with you this assignment day video from across our system. I'll turn it over to Gabe to share this video.
Congratulations on your school assignment.
Congratulations on your assignment day. My advice to you is to just be yourself and enjoy every minute.
Congratulations on your school assignment. Make sure you're on time every day for OST testing.
Congratulations on your school assignments.
Congratulations on your school assignment. Work hard and study hard.
Congratulations on your assignment day. My advice to you is to just be yourself and enjoy every minute.
Congratulations on your school assignment. Make sure you're on time every day for OST testing.
Congratulations on your school assignments.
Congratulations on your school assignment. Work hard and study hard.
Congrats on your school assignment. I believe in you.
Congratulations on your school assignment. My advice is make sure you get plenty of sleep.
Congratulations.
I'm going to Davis because I want to have a great education.
I'm going to John Hay.
I am going to Garrett Morgan, and I picked this school because I knew that they have the good education at the school.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations on your school assignment. Make sure you get to school every day.
I'm very happy for you guys, and I'm so glad.
Congratulations on your school assignment. Be your best self.
Congratulations on your school assignment. Remember, first impressions are lasting impressions. Show up every day to class on time.
Congratulations on your school assignment. Take chances and have a great time learning.
Congrats on your school assignment, and welcome to the 26-27 school year, where we're building brighter futures here in CMSD. Welcome. All right, you can actually go from current slide. There we go. I should put it back in it and advance it forward. All right, this video is a video that we have actually shared with our scholars if they got it in their email. You can advance. Oh, all right. Yep, I have it there. Couple of other updates here on choice that I want to share on our choice highlights. So while we were doing the period from January 5th to February 27th, I want to share some exciting news in terms of scholars that have been applying to CMSD. So we received a total of 8,044 total applicants. That is up from where we were last year. It's actually up by 127% in terms of total applications we received. And our new to CMSD, we received over 1,500 new to CMSD applications just during this time in terms of the excitement that families are having around what's taking place around building brighter futures and also wanting to come to CMSD. So we're excited about that, 66% up from where we were last year. A couple of things I want to share in terms of some of the highlights. We had over 6,500 current students apply during the choice window. Of those students who applied during this choice window, 93% of them received their top choice. So as families are getting these choices, 93% of the 6,500 current students received their top choice, and 91% were eligible for their top choice. And so really excited that for the enrollment team that worked really hard, that's under Rick McIntosh's leadership, Sonia Clark, who supervises Rick, and then also under Dr. Mosley's leadership, very strong choice application and enrollment period. We also now have numbers, and real numbers, as we're looking at our schools to give information for how we might need to think about our schools and also staff our schools. So this is really important information, and excited about it. And the video, as I shared before, all the students who applied through School Mint can actually see that video as well. All right, so Building Brighter Futures academic implementation updates that I want to share with you. So as I shared before, the purpose of Building Brighter Futures is to ensure that all of our scholars have expanded academic opportunities. And so I want to share with you in terms of where we are in our planning with this. As you have noted, our goals and guardrails that we're holding ourselves accountable for, this is the board's charge to ensure that all students are having expanded opportunities, but also that the instruction is getting stronger. And so where I heard, comments around the curriculum and different things that are taking place, the work that we've been actually sharing in terms of updates of the goals and guardrails, we're seeing real progress. So we're going to have a presentation that we're going to do on April 14th around college readiness and the significant progress in year of just the scholars that are actually college ready in year based on the curricular efforts that are taking place and the work that our educators are doing are signs of progress. And I'm grateful for the board for this charge. These goals are rigorous, but it shows that when we hold ourselves accountable, and we are looking at data, because our students are not only data, but if we don't know where they are and we're not holding ourselves to a high bar, how can we ensure that our scholars are growing? So I'm excited to see the growth that our scholars are doing and this charge that our board has given us. Now, our current reality in terms of where the makeup of our schools and what it looks like, we have 78% of our current high schools offer college credit. That's not 100%. That means that there are some scholars that go to some of our high schools that don't have opportunities for college credit. 59% of our high schools offer career pathways or trades. That's not 100%. That means that there are some current high school students that do not have access to career pathways and trade programs. 38% of our elementary schools offer enrichment courses beyond art, music, or PE, and 70% of our students are in newer upgraded buildings, and we know about the low enrollment numbers across the board. This is the work we've been talking about through Building Brighter Futures. It's nothing new. The promise of Building Brighter Futures is that by the fall, 100% of our high schools will have both college and career. And tonight I want to share with you some of the planning and where we are with that. And 100% of our elementary schools will have at least one enrichment opportunity beyond art, music, or PE, and we're on track for that. I'm going to share with you progress for that. This 100% of students being in upgraded buildings, we've always explained that this will be a multi-year phase. As we're still building new buildings, we're in the process of building a new Marion Seltzer, a new Lincoln West, a new Glenville High School. These are all things underway. And then also the work that we're doing to take some of our buildings that are under that 80 building condition score to bring them up to code. Some of those are taking place where they will be up to code by the fall. Others will take multi-year. All right, so let's just share with you some of the KPIs we're looking at. And I will dual track here so I can read down here. So for school culture, we have a goal that 100% of schools impacted through Building Brighter Futures have implemented a culture building activities or culture building activities for students and staff. So really bringing those staff together, things that I heard Ms. Tuggle talk about earlier. She was bringing to life some of the things that are taking place. So it was great to hear the example of what's taking place at Stephanie Tubbs Jones and FDR, which will soon come together to be Stephanie Tubbs Jones. And the KPIs that we're looking at are 100% of schools have submitted their plan for student, staff, and family engagement activities to their network leaders, and 100% of calendared event documentation for each impacted school's student, staff, and family engagement activities have been received by their network leaders. So let's talk about the progress of where we are towards that goal. Transition teams have started to meet. We have agreements around transition teams and the work that takes place with our transition teams, so those have started taking place. And some schools have already started to implement some of these engagement activities. The last time I came before the board, I talked about the February PD date. You heard an example of that in the public comment. There also have been some activities that we shared examples of where schools are starting to come together. Almost 50% of our schools have submitted plans for family engagement activities, and they're training for the Summer Bridge program for rising ninth graders that is scheduled between next month and in the month of May. The next is around textbooks. I know that there were lots of comments at the beginning of this year around we're implementing a lot of curricula. How can we ensure that textbooks are ready on day one? We heard that. And, in a spirit of continuous improvement, I tell you that's one of my core values that I have. We really wanted to make sure we were holding ourselves to the fire for that. So we have a goal that 100% of textbooks will be ordered, delivered, and received by schools by August 7th, with KPIs being 100% of those textbooks being completed and submitted to the board for this meeting on March 31st, 100% of textbooks being ordered and placed by the vendor by April 30th, and 100% 100% of textbooks materials being received by schools and matched to enrollment numbers by August 7th. So there's some work that is underway. The planning process for the textbooks, we're actually a month ahead from where we were last year. Even though we still submitted the orders last year, it's still in the springtime, we knew that through timing and actually getting it back, we were delayed at the start of the year. And so the team is already ahead of where they were last year, and I want to share some updates. So as of this board meeting, 100% of those textbooks that need to be ordered were part of the board resolution that was on this board meeting agenda. And the textbook ordering process will begin by vendor as soon as we receive that board approval. Now, the updated process for receiving textbooks have been created and communicated to schools via the transition playbook that our academics team has been working with our network leaders on. And there's additional training on that new curricula and some of the new curriculum materials that will be in the upcoming School Leader Institutes that we call SLI in May and June. So additional offerings at the K-8 level, that 100% of our elementary schools will offer at least one additional enrichment course beyond art, music, or PE. We're talking about electives, also vocational education programs at the middle schools. That is something that we're required to by the state to offer vocational education and training for those pathways. We're required to have that for next year, and I want to share with you some of the KPIs that we're looking at as indicators for success. That 100% of master schedules be completed by May 22nd, including that additional encore that is taking place. 100% of master schedules rolled over with additional encore and added inclusive of students assigned to those courses. So not only just the master schedules, but also really looking at the work that is taking place with students. The 100% of teachers new to those vocational middle courses have received training, and that 100% of equipment and curriculum needed for the new courses will also be ordered and delivered. So these are things we're holding ourselves to. High bars, but we're letting you guys know the KPIs we're looking at, because when you ask, are we ready, does the district have a plan? Our academics team has been working hard to really make sure we're ready day one. Let's talk about where we are in progress to the goals. So you've heard us talk about where we currently are in our reality around Algebra 1 and some of the areas. I want to share with you what we're looking at in terms of updated plans. So for the 26-27 school year, already right now, based on the master schedule, 40% of our elementary schools will offer Algebra 1. Currently, right now, only 11% of schools offer Algebra 1. So that's already an improvement in terms of the work we're doing around Algebra 1. Oh, I actually want to start up at the top. 100% of elementary schools are on track. So the goal of Building Brighter Futures is that 100% of schools will offer at least one enrichment course beyond art, music, or PE. We're on track to meet that. And I want to talk to you about some of those specifics. 40% of our K-8s will offer Algebra 1 starting in the fall. The other thing that our team is looking at, there are some districts when they want to offer Algebra 1 in 8th grade, what they do is they say, just offer Algebra 1 as the 8th grade math. We know that not all students are ready. We have a board goal around Algebra 1, and we know not all scholars are ready. The board has asked us, how do we prepare to make students ready? So one of the things our academics team has been looking at, in addition to ensuring that there are 40% of our schools that are offering Algebra 1, 27% of schools are starting to offer advanced coursework in 7th grade as a prerequisite to expand to Algebra 1 by the time they get in 8th grade. So I'm sharing this to share is hold us to the fire that each year that this grows. We don't want it to stay at 40% and we check a box, because 40% is still not 100%. And I remember, Ms. LeBron, you asked, even with this, of getting this, how do we address some of the inequities? 40% is not 100%. So we want to make sure that we still grow as we do this work, and our academics is on track to really make sure that this happens over time. 49% of our K-8s will offer band next year. Currently, 15% of schools offer band. 22% will offer choir. 1% currently offers choir. And I want everyone to sit with this, because this is what Building Brighter Futures is about. It's about this expanded opportunities, and there's work that we're underway to do this. 0% of our schools offer ceramics this year. We'll have 22% of our schools offering ceramics next year. Some of the other electives that we're pulling from the master schedule planning that our principals are doing, things such as dance, theater, Spanish, and there's some things, this is the data as it is today. We're still under work, the work we're doing with the scheduling process. I know at each of our principal monthly meetings and our network meetings, our academics team is going back and ensuring that our principals are doing the rigor to get the master schedule correct. Some other things I want to share. As I mentioned, there's a state requirement that 100% of our elementary schools are offering some middle school component around vocational programming, and this is a prerequisite or a pathway to our pathways that we're doing in high school. There's some work that our team has been doing to ensure that that vocational training is really in the performing arts and the fine arts area, and some of the planning so far we have underway is that 36% of our K-8s plan to offer introduction to performing arts during the 26-27 school year. 33% of the K-8s will offer introduction to visual design during the 26-27 school year. 87% of fine arts teachers have completed training for vocational middle school training. I know that Mr. Jeff Allen has been working hard to make sure that our teachers are ready for this. And all K-8 schools will offer vocational middle school courses during the 26-27 school year. So we'll meet that 100% benchmark. All CTE 26 applications required for CMSD to apply for the new pathways, we're on track to have that, as well as these are the existing ones. So those have been completed and submitted to the Education Service Center for review, and master schedules from the principals, including those paper schedules in terms of what they're planning to offer for next year, are due on April 9th. So this is on track in terms of where we are. Anything else you guys would add in terms of? All right. I want to bring to life what this means. So we're talking about it in numbers. I want to bring some, when we think about day in a life, if you're thinking about the experience of students in merged schools. So there's a lot of work we have to do. Wow, yeah. So hopefully we'll be able to, once we get out of here, it'll be safe when we get here. So I want to bring to life what this looks like when we're merging schools together and what the experience for our scholars will be. So take a look at the Benish merge with George Washington Carver. Currently right now, Benish has the 15th lowest enrollment. There are 239 students that are enrolled. George Washington Carver has 330 enrolled. Together, they will have over 450 students enrolled when looking at that combined enrollment. Benish has a building condition score of 49. Merged with George Washington Carver, George Washington Carver has a building condition score of 84. Benish has one teacher per grade level. George Washington Carver has some schools with only one class. And combined, they will all have 2 classes per grade level. We talked about during Building Brighter Futures that was something that was really important. We have 188 kindergarten through 7th graders that needed to make a choice into into George Washington Carver during the application window. 88% of those, 165 of them, chose George Washington Carver as their school. So in that central neighborhood, they chose George Washington Carver as their receiving school. When we talk about the additional encores that are offered, Benish currently offers art, music, and PE. George Washington Carver also only offers art, music, or PE. Combined next year, they will offer art, music, PE, band, and ceramics. So this is one where there are going to be 2 additional offerings that will be added in addition to the vocational program that will be at the middle grade level. Let's look at Hannah Gibbons with Memorial. Hannah Gibbons has 204 students enrolled. That's one of the 6 lowest enrolled in elementary schools enrolled. Memorial has 379. Combined, they will have that 450 plus enrolled. Both schools currently have only 1 teacher per grade level, but as a combined Memorial school next year, they will have 2 teachers per grade level. There were 165 kindergarten through 7th graders that needed to make a choice in this application window. 82%, 135 of them, chose Memorial as their school for the receiving school. You can see that both only offer art, music, or PE. Next year, they will offer art, music, PE, band, the vocational ed program, health careers, and Algebra 1. This is what Building Brighter Futures gives you. When we think about 2 separate schools coming together to become one, and how we will be able to offer more. So I just wanted to bring those to life about some of the work we're doing. Let's talk about at the high school level. So we have a KPI that 100% of our high schools will offer college credit courses. Some of those KPIs are 100% of master's schedules completed by May 22nd to include those AP, IB, College Credit Plus programs, courses. 100% of students interested in completing these courses that we receive those course requests. 100% of master schedules rolled over with IB, AP, and College Credit Plus courses that students have enrolled and have a teacher assigned. We want 100% of the IB, AP teachers new to IB and AP to receive their training, and that training usually takes place between the spring and the summer. 100% of teachers new to pre-AP also receiving pre-AP training. We've already been talking to the College Board about this. And then 100% of textbooks for these new courses being ordered. Let's see where we are. So those are the goals. Let's look at where we are in this progress. Right now, 100% of high schools are on track to offer AP courses during the 26-27 school year. That would meet the 100% college credit offered in every single high school, and that is in school. That is not going to Tri-C for the CCP. We will still have that offering, but we mentioned during Building Brighter Futures, and that's great to hear the rain calm down a little bit. There it goes, it's picking back up. One of the things we mentioned during Building Brighter Futures, it's important that scholars have the college credit opportunities offered in school, and that's really important. And so that's what we're working on. Similar to what we talked about in the K-8 space, where we don't just want to offer Algebra 1 in 8th grade, there's a readiness. So, Dr. Turner's team who leads the teaching and learning, they're thinking about that 7th grade advanced coursework math. In the same vein, when we think about advanced placement, we just don't want to throw kids into advanced placement if they're not ready. So I know the team has been looking at what does pre-AP look like. I think that I even heard that there's work to over time phase out honors and ensure all honors is pre-AP as a precursor to advanced placement. And that is also helping students get ready for dual enrollment. So this is that preparation that we're ensuring that our scholars are ready. Also, high school master schedules are due by April 9th. Student course requests are due on April 24th, and that those textbooks for the new courses are also ordered and submitted, and professional development plans underway to ensure teachers are ready with that training. Career pathways. Right now, we have a goal that 100% of high schools are offering those career pathways. KPIs, we're looking at those master schedules, that they're completed with the CTE courses in there, that students have completed their course requests in all of our high schools, that the master schedules in all of our high schools are rolled over with those CTE courses with students enrolled and a teacher assigned, that we'll have 100% of CTE teachers trained in the new teaching pathways and provided with a mentor, and that 100% of resources needed for those new CTE courses by April 15th, and 100% of those resources delivered to our schools with those CTE courses. And this is work that we anticipate happening in the spring and over the summer, prepared to be ready for the start of the school year. Let's see where we are in progress for that. 100% of our high schools are on track to offer career pathways. So if you remember, right now only 59%. In the fall, 100% will offer that. We're on track to do that. All of those CTE applications have been submitted and are even with the schools that are combined and merging together, and those have been sent to the ESE. Master schedules are due on April 9th. Those course requests are also due on April 24th. Resources for those new courses are to be placed, those orders are to be placed by April 10th. And then those professional development plans are also being reviewed so that we can be having the training finalized by May. All right, special education scheduling. I know that this was a big topic of question during Building Brighter Futures, and what we were doing to really ensure that all of our scholars, including special education, and all students who learn in all different modalities have the high quality education that they need. So we have a goal that 100% of students with disabilities are correctly enrolled and are routed for transportation. Some of those KPIs, 100% of students with disabilities are rostered and placed correctly by July 31st. The 100% of students with disabilities that require transportation as coded in their IEP is implemented correctly within their IEP. The 100% of students who are required to have transportation in their IEP are routed correctly with transportation. In a moment, you'll be hearing from our transportation team on some key transportation updates that they've been doing that has been supporting this work. And 100% of students with disabilities who have made a choice in have made a choice in the choice portal and are assigned correctly. I'm going to share with you some of the progress we've had to that. So our enrollment team, as we mentioned before, we shared with you some overall enrollment numbers. There's been some work underway that we've been doing to ensure our students with disability are placed. And these are those single classrooms, because we also have students, the majority of our students who are students with disabilities or are in special education are in a general education setting. And as we mentioned during Building Brighter Futures, the majority of those students have a seat at their welcoming school because they receive those assignments. But it was specifically looking at students in a single classroom where there may be special needs that are needed for that specific single classroom that we needed to make sure that those students were placed. So we have 585 focused students in those single classrooms that were impacted through Building Brighter Futures. And they have a guaranteed assignment at a new school for 26-27. Of those, 156 applied to schools other than their welcoming school. So we had those 585 we were looking at, 156 applied to a school other than their welcoming school. 66% of those single classroom applicants that were eligible received their first choice when they were assigned. 52% of them who made a choice were assigned in their top choices, so one of their top choice programs. 100% of ninth grade students in single classrooms who made an active choice were placed in their first choice. So we were able to do that for 100% of our ninth graders. So this is some of the progress. We'll continue to share with you as updates on what we're doing for our special education population. Still more work to do, but I know Jessica Wiseman, who is our Executive Director of Special Education, has been working really hard, and there is a great work underway that we're doing to really ensure students are being placed. And we're also contacting those families, working hard to really make sure families understand those options. All right, I want to share some updates on staffing. I know that there are questions really around staffing and what we're doing in terms of some of the talent updates. So I want to remind you in terms of where we were at the forecast. Chief Stockdale in February, that was last month, it feels like a forever ago, but shared our updated 4-year forecast that we had to submit to the state. As you can see, some of the work that we've been doing through Building Brighter Futures and the goal that we have of saving at least $30 million through Building Brighter Futures is carried over and reflected in this forecast. With the updates that we're making through Building Brighter Futures, and I know this chart we shared many times, and I've shared it over the course of many different times when we're presenting, we always want to look at that final row where it says the unencumbered cash balance. That's what the state looks at. They look at, are you in the black for the current year, or are you in the black, and are you in the black for the next 2 years? If you are not, if any of those show up in the red, that means you can go in fiscal precaution, watch, or being taken over by the state. Those are always the things that we look at. So as you can see from the work we've done through Building Brighter Futures, we're currently in fiscal year 26, not fiscal year 25, we're in fiscal year 26. And you look at the next 2 years out, we're good for this year. As we look at next year, we're currently in the black. But if you look at fiscal year 28, we're in the black. We're not in the black for fiscal year 29. And so some of the work that we committed, and we've already said that we had to do, there was a work that Building Brighter Futures was going to find savings on. The rest we were finding through central office. So in the central office budgeting process, and Chief Stockdale mentioned this, we were making reductions of $15 million at the central office. And Chiefs already submitted their budgets to me. I reviewed those budgets. We're on track in terms of hitting that $15 million target. But with that, that's essentially the $50 million you need to save, and that would also avoid us into next year falling into fiscal precaution and watch. There's more work we have to do in the upcoming years, but at least for this year and the year after, we will be on track to submit a 4-year forecast that will be in balance with the state. I want to share just a chart of where all of our expenditures come from. The majority of our expenditures, and when we think about our finances, are in salaries and benefits. Almost 80%, 79% of our budget is in salaries and benefits. Just want that to sit with that. That 80% of that is in salaries and benefits. The majority of which, one of our largest categories of groups, as you would understand, as we're a school system, are educators, are our teachers, but we do have some of our operational staff and different areas like that. But our teachers are our largest group of staff that we have. Almost 80% of that is in salaries and benefits. We do have another 15% in contracts. Some of these others are smaller categories, but the majority is in salaries and benefits, which is why when we mention building brighter futures and we think about the savings, any savings that we have, a big part of it comes in people, not in our operations, not in our buildings. This is where our budget is looking at when we're looking at our general budget. I want to remind you about what also led us to get here. You guys have seen this over time, that over a past 20-year time, we've had an over 50% decline in our enrollment. That decline is not driven by school choice or students choosing to go to the suburbs or choosing to go to charter schools. What's taking place is we have a historic decline in birth rates. We're not the only ones impacted by this. I was just talking with a district and a foundation from another city last week, where they wanted to understand what we were doing because they need to do the same thing in their system. My chief of staff and I, along with Megan Traum, who is one of the executive directors on the academics team, we presented at Broad in January, where there were districts across the country saying, how are you doing this? We need to do the same thing. So birth rate decline is not just something that is taking place in Cleveland, in our state. It's not the only thing taking place. It's taking place across the country. And a lot of districts are faced with this same dilemma. Increase in expenses, less revenue coming into the system, fewer students, and old buildings. Now, one of the things I want to just remind everyone is that, as I mentioned before, with this decline and the work we had to do by taking 29 schools offline, based on the $150 million that we need to save over 3 years, the majority of that is coming in the work that we're doing with people. We've already announced and started talking at the school leadership level. We started doing work with our school leaders starting in December of announcing which school leaders will be placed in schools for next year, which ones would not. In January, we did that with assistant principals. Which assistant principals would have jobs, which ones would not or would be displaced. We did that with campus coordinators and deans as well in January, which ones would and which ones would not. There's still work underway for the other categories. We just did $15 million at central office, so there are impacts at central office that are underway as well. Whenever we're doing this, so the question was never that there would not be impacts to building brighter futures. Of course, when you're reducing your footprint, there are impacts that come along with it. The question always is at what scale and what impact, and that's the part that we're working really hard. We always want to minimize harm. As I shared when I first came in, I'm a student of the PELP framework. Our team went to PELP last year, but I've been sharing the PELP framework from the moment I came in. Even when I was interviewing for this job, I shared the PELP framework. And at the center of the PELP framework is the instructional core. The instructional core is what's happening with the teacher, the student, and the content. And so we always want to make sure that whatever we're doing, we preserve and protect the instructional core at the best ability. Yep. It's at the core of what we do and the work that we're doing. And so as we're doing this work and as we think about how more information will be shared out in the spring, our question is always, how can we find savings while at the same time minimizing harm to the instructional core and also figuring out the work we can do? And that's the work that's underway. We continue to do this work, and I anticipate that over the next couple of months, there's a lot of work we're going to really be doing to really make sure school-based staffing, central office staffing is in line with our needs for next year. I also want to share here just the delicate balance that we're always looking at, and this kind of goes in what I was sharing in terms of the work that all districts really have to do to really ensure that we level our finances. So we have increasing revenues. There's work we have to do at the state level to advocate for more funding. We've shared before, Chief Stockdale shared this in February, that each year the funding formula requires more for local property taxes than it is that we're receiving state funding from the state. So there's work we have to do to continue to advocate for that, while at the same time really decreasing our costs. And there's work that we've done. In 2024, in my first year that I was here, at the end of that year, we reduced $200 million at the central office and did a round of cuts at central office in that first year, where everyone else was held harmless. We put spending controls in place, spending controls on travel, our school calendar that we've done, school budgeting process. These were all things, once again, finding other areas before needing to go to the instructional core. So this is all work that we've done underway. Of course, through Building Brighter Futures, there are 18 buildings next year that will be vacated, and we're working in those 5 lease spaces, so there's some operational savings with that, but now we need to align the staffing needs for 26-27 because there'll be 29 fewer schools, and that's the process that we're working on. So it's this delicate balance of we need to figure out how do we get more revenue coming into the system while decreasing the costs, and that's the balancing act that we continue to do. And you know, one of the things we shared here, there's no easy solution. There's no magic wand in terms of this work, in terms of how we figure this out. It's just hard work. And as you can see, we will continue to do the hard work, but this is hard work as well, because our scholars deserve it. Our scholars deserve adults that are advocating for them and ensuring that they have a high quality education, and that's what Building Brighter Futures is about. When I look at the kids, I say I do this work for kids like me. I look at the face of a lot of our scholars, I see myself, and if there were not people advocating for me and if I didn't have different opportunities, I wouldn't be where I am today. And so if we are not providing that high quality options for our scholars, where will they be? And so we need to make sure that we're fighting for them at all costs, and then we align our work that we do as adults, even staffing, to meet the needs of the work we're doing with our kids. There's just a timeline of the budgeting process. I've kind of already talked about this. We've shared this before. We've been doing central office budgeting since the beginning of the year. Schools have been doing budgeting since the beginning of the year. We're now at the point where the enrollment window has closed. We have updated enrollment targets. We hope to have the teacher hiring completed by May, as well as all other staffing as well. So springtime is the time that we intend to really either announce any additional work that we're doing with staffing or figure out the work that we need to do, but there's work that we have to do over the next couple of months to ensure we're ready for the start of the school year. With that, any questions?
Ms. LeBron?
Thank you. Wow. Hello? Thank you, Chair. Thank you. Thank you, Chair. That's working now. And Dr. Morgan. Sorry, that threw me off. Student course requests. Can you tell me can you tell me what that process looks like? And I may have a follow-up question to that.
Ms. Fruit?
So student course request process, the guidance counselors at the high school level work with the students to determine what courses they need, not just for graduation, but the courses they want to choose. So for our 9th and 10th graders, deciding what pathways they might want to go to, what AP classes for 10, 11, 12th graders, that kind of thing. And once the students have worked with their counselors to determine what they would like to take, then the counselors submit the course requests into the Power School system so that the final schedule can be determined.
And so the student course requests are done collaboratively with the student and the guidance counselor.
Correct.
And that should be, so students are just now finding out, I'm thinking about the incoming students, they're just now finding out what school they've been accepted to. And the decisions have to be made by, or they should be submitted by April 24th. So are they working with their guidance counselor in 8th grade, or are they meeting with a 9th grade, like a high school guidance counselor?
So for rising 9th graders, they take the core requirements, so ELA, math, science, social studies. So there's less choice for our ninth graders. The one thing that they might have is like a foreign language, or if they're going to take band. So there is some outreach that happens with our eighth graders. And then there's some time right at the beginning of the year where if our ninth graders want to make some changes, they can do so.
And how does the school identify students that are qualified for AP College Credit Plus courses, because they could already be taking them?
Right, so if you're talking about our rising ninth
Yes.
graders, current eighth graders. So we're still working through that process with some of our current schools. Mostly what we do is we look at their current scores, so their OST scores, and if they're at a certain level, they're placed in an honors class. There is outreach to make sure that the student and the family is aware about the honors possibility. In terms of the College Credit Plus, there's a process by which students are informed that they have the opportunity beginning in 7th grade to take College Credit Plus, and they reach out to their schools to sign up for College Credit Plus that way.
Okay, thank you. Another question that I have was around, and this was one of the things that was really promoted when we started talking about building brighter futures, is the benefit of having two courses being offered in the same grade level, that there's opportunities for professional development between those two teachers in the form of like collaborative planning time or grade level like exchange of like best practices and things like that. How is that going to be implemented? Because I know you said 100%, or you gave the example of, I think it was like Benish and GWC, that they're going to have two grades, two teachers for each grade. There you go. How are they going to be supported in actually being able to utilize those professional development opportunities?
Dr. Florence?
So when we spoke about that earlier, that really spoke to what happens during their 50 minutes, their planning time each week. And so now, as opposed to one person doing all the work of planning, they will now have a partner to help them think through lessons, think through activities, to help them plan with on a weekly basis. Okay. So most of that is going to happen collaboratively in their 50 minutes every week.
Okay, 50 minutes. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Billups?
Thank you, Chair Ellicott. I just got a couple, I think, quick questions. The first one on slide 11, going back to that slide 11, kind of with the culture, with the transition in schools. A few students that I've spoke to over the course of the last month or so, that was one of the concerns, or not concern, but one of the suggestions they had was, in order to make these processes go as well as possible, students and schools should be integrated as early as possible and as often as possible. So my question is the plan, I know a lot of schools are already doing that. Ms. Riley spoke to that a little bit earlier. My question becomes, is this the plan to continue to integrate as much as possible during the spring and even into the summer leading up to the next school year?
I mean, culture work is ongoing. I mean, culture is, it's what makes the school community, students, staff, parents, the work that we do. And so, there are some initial work that our team is tracking to ensure that there are events that are scheduled to begin that work, but that work goes in through through the year. There are KPIs we look at through the board goals really around safety and culture that are not just looking at events like this, but also what's happening on the Panorama survey that we give to schools now to find out about the school culture and things that are taking place. That human aware department, the social emotional learning, is also moving to our academics department, so there's also that close proximity for the work that is taking place in our schools to ensure that school culture is ongoing. And so, this is some of the initial work that we're doing, but it does carry into the fall as well.
Thank you. I'm also looking at the vocational options, particularly in the middle school. The first thing I'm excuse me. The first thing I'm wondering is, are those pathways that's offered, are those part of the state? Are those part of the state report card?
So the vocational requirement is a state requirement. It's not part of the, I think you're talking about the CCWMR pathways. That's at the high school level. But the emphasis of the state has an emphasis on college and career readiness, as we do too, where students are not getting to high school and it's the first time they're thinking about career readiness and the work they're doing in the connectivity. The work that our academics team is doing, the reason why you see a lot of them in the fine arts area, we were actually looking at what our current staffing, the current courses that we offer, and how can we begin to offer this in our middle grades with our current needs that we have now. Of course, there are other vocational programs that we could do. There are other ones we can grow over time, but currently, given our staffing and the work that we have music in all of our elementary schools. What are ways that we can expand that to offer some advanced level arts and integration that prepares students not only for a specified pathway in arts, if that's what they choose, but also teach them a lot of other disciplines that will be very relevant to them in their high school journey as well.
Okay, thank you. You kind of answered my next question already, which was going to be kind of how was those options going to be decided for the schools moving forward. So I'll just kind of ask one last question. It's on slide 30. On the left side, on the first bullet point, it seeks fair funding. Can anyone speak to kind of what that potentially entails as we look at funding for our district in the future?
Yeah, it's a very broad thought and topic in terms of many different ways to go in answering that. But I'll start with this. One of the things that Chief Stockdale has shared many different times when thinking about our budget is that over time, the amount of dollars that is required on property taxes, the way school funding is happening is the requirement for local property taxes is increasing while state funding directly to education is decreasing. There's advocacy that we can continue to look at for advocating for the fair school funding formula. We know that the fair school funding formula was implemented. Chief Stockdale presented this before, but it would increase our budget significantly. What is the figure we would receive if we were fully funded at the fair school funding formula level? So $157 million over 2 years. And when we're talking about the $150 million deficit we have over 3 years, that tells you the impact we're looking at. So there's work we have to do to continue to advocate for that. There's also work that can happen in terms of just, there were some policy changes in terms of how districts like our districts where we have high poverty levels, how that was categorized and how that has impacted at a financial level, and it's changed. And I think these are all things that take place at the state level. One of the things I'm proud that we're a part of is the Ohio 8, and as part of the Ohio 8, myself as the CEO, as well as our board president, which I'll be looking forward to be joining those with Mr. Savage, but we go on a regular basis to Columbus. We talk about this, and these are things that every district, when we think about our large urbans, the work that we do to really advocate for funding, and there's continued work that we have to do there. We've talked about some of the other measures we've done. There's always things that districts can do to increase those revenues, such as ballot measures. We had our November 2024 levy that we had in place. But that seeking fair funding is really looking at if we were made whole based on the fair school funding formula that was supposed to be implemented. You could see, just even from the numbers that Chief Stockdale shared, how we would be made whole.
Dr. Morgan, I do want to help answer that last question as well, around seeking additional funding or seeking more fair funding. We really can't do it alone, right? We need the support of the community, the people who vote for the people in the State House. Many of them are in the room, many of them are not, but that's how we can influence the funding decisions that are made at the state level, which impact the decisions that we make at this table. And the board will be looking to add some funding presentations in the future by some of our partners like Honesty for Ohio Education. More to come on that. But, Dr. Morgan, appreciate your efforts, your team's efforts, the future CTU president. He's not the board chair, but he could have my seat for a day if he wants. Mr. Savage, to help advocate on that front.
I know that's, I said board chair, CTU president. Didn't even realize I did that.
Mr. Briggs?
Thank you, Chair Ellicott. And Dr. Morgan, thank you for your leadership and your excellent team. Continually impressed. You mentioned that there were 8,000 students who applied for the different locations, and maybe I missed it, but what about the other 24,000 students?
Are you referring to the choice application
Yes.
window? Not all students need to make a choice. So the majority of our students don't need to make a choice. They just stay in their school that they are at.
Okay.
And even when we think, that's a really great question that I also just want to share publicly. Let's take the John Hay campus, where you have School of Science and Medicine, Architecture and Design, and early college. They're all coming together to on John Hay campus. None of those students had to go in and apply. They are assumed. Now, if they wanted to change their school, they would have to apply, but the majority of our students didn't have to. These are only for schools that their building itself will be closing. So in that same example, Campus International High School that is merging to John Hay those students need to make a choice. So we only had, when we take into account the students whose schools were closing, our students with disabilities, rising kindergarten students, as well as rising ninth grade students, we had about somewhere around 7,000, 8,000 students who needed to make a choice. The reason why the number is over than 8,000 is we had new to CMSD students who made a choice. We know not all students who needed to make a choice did make a choice. That was roughly around, I think, 66% when we closed. 66, 69% was one of those. And that's some of the work we're doing now to really ensure that students will come given their confirmed seat. Now, another question I want to make sure it is clear to this point. Every student is being notified of what their assignment is. So the emails, if families received the email, those are the students who actually went in and applied. You received the email. But in the third quarter report card, every student will receive their assignment for next year, even if their assignment is the same as where they currently are. So every student will have an assignment for what that is, and there's a process that, as always, that if there are changes that students are making in that time, they can do that. But at this point, this week, all students will be notified what their assignment is.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Morgan. I think it'd be helpful to continue to include that denominator number as well, so that we know what we're working with when we look at that number of students that have applied. I think most of my questions were asked. I would say I mainly have comments. I'm very glad to see the work around the goals that you all have created around school culture, around even the textbook orders, right? And we approved that order today as a board, and the KPIs that are associated with them. I think that those are really important, responsive to the questions that the board has asked in past meetings, and in turn, questions that the community has asked in past meetings as well as the things that I continue to hear from folks in our schools, our students, our families, our educators. It's really good to see it all laid out here, and I hope that the stuff will continue to be communicated with our school communities so that everybody understands kind of how some of these things are being worked out, and that there is a plan. I know there continues to be a lot of understandable anxiety around the changes, and you all making the effort to communicate down to some of the details of how you all are moving forward is, I hope, helpful to folks who are concerned. Also wanted to say I'm really happy to see the progress on slide 15 around our electives, especially algebra. I think I said it was like in the December meeting when we were looking at college readiness, and it was so abysmal, and I said I could cry. I could cry out of happiness to see the progress that we're making, and as you said, it's not the progress that we want to end at, but very glad to see that work being put forward, and want to make sure to give you your kudos for doing this hard work, and just encourage you all to continue to, like you said, grow through the progress and grow through the changes and some of the challenges. And I personally hate to see, I think everybody does hate to see when it feels like we have a bureaucratic failure, right, of something as important as books. And so it's great to see that you all are way ahead of it this year.
Thank you.
All right. And do we have a presentation on transportation?
We do. So I know there were lots of questions that our board members have asked us on transportation. There are lots of questions we've heard from the community. So I know there are lots of topics. I see Ms. Bonner out in the audience. Lots of questions. And so we do have an update. And so thank you, Team Academics, for the progress on building brighter futures. And oh, yeah, I have a clicker
Can
here.
I just confirm that that's been added to board docs?
Yes.
Do we have it?
Yep.
Okay.
So yes, it's on board docs, our transportation presentation. And so without further ado, I would introduce Karen Thompson, who is our Chief of District Operations.
Sorry, Chief Thompson, one moment. Board members, you'll have to refresh your page and find the transportation update deck in there. Over to you.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to be very, very crisp and brief on this. And first of all, thank you, Dr. Morgan. Appreciate the opportunity to talk about transportation, Chair Alquad, board members, and community. And I would be remiss if I didn't introduce the team. It truly is a team that does the work at transportation. They're small but mighty, and I've got to know them very well. And I just want to take a moment and acknowledge Tamira Bates. She handles routing and does it seamlessly, effortlessly every day. Mike Bauer, who can't be here this evening, he handles our mechanics, and we have 2 depots where they're at. Beth Hartzell, she manages the office. She was Eric's right hand. She will become very close. She works very closely with Bill, and will work very closely with our new ED. We have April Holland Taylor. She's our director. She is the director at the depots. If you ever want to see something in action, I've never seen such symmetry. I don't know if I would call it symmetry, but you hear this hub of noise start around 5:30, and the team is really getting into gear. April and her team are managing that in conjunction with the team, and Greg Williams, who is at our Ridge Road, and Greg is over communication. He's the manager of communications, and he reports in at between 5 and 5:30 of every morning. So this team starts in the morning around 5 and ends around 7. And so I would be remiss if I didn't introduce the team. So for tonight, we want to hit 3 areas for you. We have the, and Bill, where did he go? Bill, I'll introduce. Bill is our consultant. He brings a wealth of experience, and he's going to walk us through the CAP. We have 3 things that we want to hit, and we want to hit them very quickly for you. But one is the corrective action plan. We have done an update with the state. We have the first update and just finished our second update. So it's very visible. We want to share that with you, and we want to share where we're at with that. We also want to share 3 real-life examples of communication. It is an area that the team continues to work on and will get better at, but it is an area that is challenging at times. And finally, we want to introduce new leadership and then spend some time for Q&A. So with that, when we talk about corrective action, and Bill's going to dive in deeper, but the corrective action plan, or you're going to hear us call it CAP, in December, the state came up and we had a visit from the state as well as with the Ohio State troopers. We had to hit some areas, and then we had to have a response to them, and that response was due in January. The corrective action plan covers 7 key areas, and so we will dive into those areas, and that's what we report on. But what I would want to say is it really is about ensuring compliance, accountability, and student safety. And I want to end with student safety because student safety is always the driver with the work that we do. This team transports close to 15,000 students daily. And that's not counting the number of students with our partners, non-publics and charters. That's another additional about 8,000 students. So this team has to be on call, has to support, and that's with our yellow buses and our cabs and vans. RTA is a different story, but we do provide RTA for about 9,000 for our students there. And so the CAP, or the Corrective Action Plan, the 7 key areas, we have to report out, meet on it on a regular basis, and it is allowing this team to really dive deeper, look at the practices that we have in place, but start to codify them and start to knit things together. And so with that, I'm going to step away and turn it over to Bill, and he's going to take us through the 7 key areas.
Just think something. Use that button. Good evening, everyone. As Karen said, my name is Bill Andexler. I've been brought in for CMSD to help them out with the CAP. Just real briefly, I've got 27 years in it, and my last school that I worked at was Akron Public Schools. So what you guys are doing here is very similar to what Akron is, just that you're a little bit bigger up here. Like Karen said, there was 7 parts to the CAP that we have to address. I'm sure that letter that came out late December was very shocking, which it should be. And we are addressing that step by step. It's not something that we can just snap our fingers and have it done in a week. It's going to take, a couple months to get it in, as long as we're moving forward and completing theirs. There's the 7 steps. There's the 7 components of the CAP that are up there. And we're just going to briefly go through each one. So the component number 1 is just organizational. What I found at that December 9th meeting when we had, it was just that Cleveland has the material, it's just that it wasn't presented at that December 9th meeting. And that's what caused the letter to come out, and we have to think. So as I'm working with the team over here, which is a great team, we're pulling all these pieces together. I've always said that I do puzzles is what I do, and we're always constantly putting pieces to the puzzle together. Unfortunately, in transportation, the puzzle can never be completed because there's always things changing. Usually about every 6 years, things change. When our legislators are changing things down at the state, that changes the puzzle. So it's always a puzzle that will never be completed. So the first component is organizational chart or organizational accountability. And that was real simple. They had an organizational chart. We just updated a little bit, and then we submit it to the state, and then that's fine. The other thing is a task calendar. It sounds like it's very simple, just a task calendar, but everything in transportation has deadlines, and we put everything on the task calendar. So now the department knows the task calendar and when things are due. The team, the department suffered some vacancies. You had an executive director retire. You had a compliance officer resign. Other things, people have left. You have bus drivers leaving, things like that. So that all adds up. I know there was some articles about, well, they just had excuses for staff because their staff were shortages. That's a real thing. That's a real thing, staff shortages. And then Karen mentioned about April in the morning and trying to get the drivers. When you have short drivers in the morning, trust me, that's not I've been there. That's not a nice place to be when you have 15% or 20% of your drivers calling off in the morning. We did post the position, and it is filled for the compliance person, but that person currently is doing the field trips. So we just can't take that person out of field trips, and move them over to compliance, because we have 70 to 90 field trips a day going out from the buildings. So that's a critical part. We have posted, or I should say CMSD has posted, and we have filled the executive director position. They did engage with 2 consulting firms. One is Shared Services, the one that I belong to, and the other one is NPJ. and that's another consulting firm. And something that was as simple as developing a department handbook. There was a department handbook, and April was the one that developed it. We took it. It's a draft copy that we're working on, and we submitted it to there. So again, a lot of the pieces were already there to the puzzle. It was just that my job is to organize it, to put it in. So one thing I should make clear is you're dealing with two groups of transportation people. One is your CMSD drivers, okay, which is a big part. You got about 150 drivers. The other part is contracted vans or contracted services. Okay, so this cap, we're trying to bring in both teams together, which can get complicated at times and it can confusing. So sometimes I may be talking about something, if I'm not clear, you're thinking I'm talking about CMSD drivers, but I'm actually talking about contracted drivers. So hopefully I can keep it clear as we walk through this. And with that, we have a total staff of about 550 to 600 staff members for transportation. That's counting the contracted services, and that's counting CMSD staff. So you're about 550 to 600 staff for the transportation. So the second component was vehicle inspection. And again, the first part of it was the van service. So again, these are all private companies, but Cleveland, like other districts, are being held that we have to monitor these contractors, these private companies, and we have to vet them, audit them, okay? Some will say that we're doing DEW's job. Well, we are, but we're responsible. Ultimately, we're responsible, and we want the safest for our kids. And when I say our kids, I've got some skin in the game too. My cousins have children that go to school here, so I kind of say they're my kids too. Some would say babies, but they're my kids. And so the second component is the vans, making sure the vans and things and inspections. Cleveland has that for their buses. We have that in place. Do we have to do a better job for the contractors? Yes, we do, and we are doing that, and we are working on that. The third component of it was pre-trip inspections. Again, Cleveland has something in place for the pre-trip inspections. Can we make it better? Absolutely. Okay, and that will go into that department handbook that we're talking about, that I've talked about. Component number 4, and I'm not even moving the slide for you, I apologize. Component number 4 is like maintenance and removal, and this is, again, this is for Cleveland buses and things like that. How do we do the maintenance? Again, Cleveland has things in place. We have to refine it a little bit, but they had it in place. And when a bus is defective because of a driver wrote it up for something, there's a procedure for that, and the drivers or the departments are following that. Again, we just needed to supply that information to the state, okay, and which we are. Component number 5 is in-service training. Your drivers have been trained. They do in-service, okay? They just felt that there should have been some additional training, which I agree 100%. You can never train not enough. And we have a trooper listed here. His name's Trooper Hughes. He just recently retired. But he started, as soon as that was brought up at the meeting, I think within 3 weeks, he started coming to the district, and he was training the drivers, the bus drivers. Now, since he's retired, and we have a new trooper, his name is Trooper Albert. So Trooper Hughes retired on the the Friday, whatever that, the 14th or whatever it was of March, the next week, we already scheduled a meeting with Trooper Albert with the entire transportation team, and he's already scheduling classes for the drivers. So we're going to be fulfilling that. So the rest of that, the component 5 for in-service training, again, our drivers are doing it here at Cleveland. Now, component number 6 is the most complicated one. Fortunately for our drivers here at Cleveland, we're in pretty good shape because there are additional teams that are helping us, like the person who oversees RATBAC, okay, for the district. Her and I have been working very closely together. So fortunately, the Cleveland team of drivers are in really good shape, okay, of having all these things checked off. Each driver has about 15 things that we need to check off. Okay. They need to have their certificate to drive a bus, okay? They need to have background check, BCI, FBI, they have to have RATBAC, they have to have their T8 physical. There's like 15 things we have to check off. So do the math, take 550 to 600 people times 15, that's how many things we need to have checked off. And all these includes our charter companies too, our charter bus companies and chartered van companies. All of this has to be checked off, all this has to be documented. And this is the most complicated part of the CAP right here. We're making headway. We're not entirely done with it, but that's the most complicated part of it. Component number 7 is what happens when there are problems. How do we address the contractors? We get a lot of phone calls. The transportation team cannot be at 50 schools, 70 schools, monitoring every person that comes in. We've got 300 van contractors out there, approximately 300. We got 90 bus drivers that work for contracted buses or services. Now, granted, most of our vans transport children with needs. Our bus contractors transport to the charter non-public schools. Majority of them do. So we get calls and complaints, concerns from the public, from the highway patrol, from many different angles. So what do we have to do? How do we address those? And that's what we need, and we've set that in place. Every one of those have to be investigated, okay? And if something is warranted, we pull the contract from them. Or if they've done something, in which Karen will talk about here in a few minutes, about like a railroad crossing. If they do a railroad crossing not correct, they can lose their certificate to drive a student for 1 year for that. That has to be, we have to investigate every call that comes in. So in conclusion, I know there was a lot of concern when those letters came out, and there's a lot of, just basically a lot of concern. We're addressing it, we're moving forward, we're taking the steps, and we will be okay with the compliance with that, okay? It's something that we're working through. I think, Karen, I think you're next.
Thank you, Bill.
Let me sit down.
Yeah. Thank you. As Bill shared, and that's, he gave a very high level, but I think the key takeaway that I have from the corrective action plan and that the team has from the corrective action plan is we have to come together, we have to review, we have to codify practices, and we have to continually assess, reassess, and be responsive. And so it can be very challenging when you're dealing with outside vendors as well as internal vendors. And the team has to work as a unit and has to address. And so that's what this is all about. We've been working really hard, being very transparent about the process. And so I did want to delve into, very quickly, 3 examples of areas of improvement in communication. Communication, not going to sugarcoat it, it's been a challenge for us. And if you think about it, you know, we're communicating not only with our families, we're communicating with school leaders, we're communicating with bus drivers, we're communicating with contractors. And so what we have for you tonight is 3 real-life examples. So the first one is an example about school leadership and support. And we have a process for field trip tracker. As I shared earlier, we service probably between, on average, 50 to 70 types of field experiences a day. It could be field trips, but it could also be athletic events, et cetera. And at the beginning of the year, the team spends time with school leaders as well as school secretaries and talks about the process. Well, in reflection, we realized we needed to dial it back, look at it, and just have a check-in. You don't remember, you get slammed with a lot of stuff at the beginning of the year. This was an opportunity to look at the process, write the process down, and then have a one-pager that we could send out through the schools. And our academic team has the Principal's Common newsletter, School Leaders newsletter, and so that's where it went. But it's just a chance to reflect, say, here's what the process is, here's what we can service, and get that energy going again with field experiences. A second one, and this was a cab safety concern that came up, and this is an example for you to see what we've done with student family safety. And what had happened was we have students, as Bill talked about earlier, we have students that we use contracted services, and this is a cab and van incident. There were 4 students on this cab. The cab ran into some mechanical difficulties. The driver drove to a public lot and reached out to his owner of the cab company. They stayed situated waiting for the vehicle to come back, which they should do, and then they transported to school. They did reach out to some families, but they did not follow the district's protocol, which is you notify the schools and you notify transportation. None of that was done. And so we had students arriving to their site an hour late. What wasn't acceptable was that they didn't follow the protocol. And so we investigated it immediately. We changed the vendor or the service for those families, and we reached out to the families directly to let them know this was happening, as well as, because we're under corrective action plan, we included the state, but we included our leadership and the school leadership. So that's an example of being responsive to safety concerns that come up. And then finally, the railroad and safety crossing. As Bill shared, this example is pretty straightforward, but we have to continually train. We should continually have opportunities to train. And what we found was that sometimes when you're not transporting students, you come to railroad tracks and just cross them. If you're in a vehicle that is designated for transporting students, so you might see a cab with the little thing on the top that says student transportation, or on the sides, they still have to stop at the tracks and follow the proper process. A yellow bus should always stop at the track, whether there's students or not. And unfortunately, if you don't, you will get cited, and the violation is serious. You lose your license for a year. It's a license, the commercial license to transport students, but you're expected to do this. And so we had a refresher, as he mentioned. We've been training our drivers, having them stop in for a refresher course with Trooper Hughes, and April's been setting that up. But we've also just shared information, and this includes our contracted drivers as well as our district drivers. So we wanted to share with you 3 examples of real-time communication that the team is addressing to respond more quickly. And then lastly, leadership matters. And so we want to take the opportunity to share, as had previously been mentioned, we had the exit or retirement of the executive director, Eric Taylor. And Eric had been in that position for a long time, and we needed to have a thoughtful plan of action. And so working with the team, working with the district, we posted the position. It attracted 27 applicants, which I was pretty pleased with that. And we had 6 internal candidates for the district, as well as 21 external candidates apply for the position. So we had a nice pool of candidates to vet. We then determined that 7 of those candidates rose to the level of let's have an interview. So I really appreciate having Bill's expertise, and Jason, who's also with his team, he has expertise in special education, in really looking at who was eligible. And so we had 7 applicants that we interviewed. 5 of them were external and 2 were internal. From that process, we had our final 2. So this is like the final 4. We had our final 2. And the final 2, it didn't stop there. They then had to interview with Dr. Morgan and the executive leadership team, but they also had to do a problem of practice. We're an educational institute. You should have a thoughtful problem of practice. And we did it in real time. We did it around the corrective action plan and improving communications. And so, and it's time bound. You don't get forever to work on this problem of practice. I mean, you got to turn it around pretty quickly. And so they had to present on that. And so we're just super, super excited tonight to formally introduce Dr. Timothy Primus. Come on up. Yeah, you can come up. He is not a stranger to CMSD, so it's nice when you have an internal candidate. And I'll let you introduce yourself if you want to say.
Hello, everybody. Like she said, I'm Timothy Primus. I'm currently the principal at John Marshall School of Engineering. I've been in education about 23 years, and I look forward to the challenge of this new role and just helping out with everything I possibly can to help move building brighter futures ahead.
So it was a time-bound process, but it was a critical process, and it was critical to get. There's never the perfect candidate, but that's pretty perfect. And we had 2 strong internal candidates. So we have a strong bench, and looking forward to Tim's leadership in this position. So that's it. Any questions?
Ms. Jones?
Thank you, Chair Ellicott. Not to get in the weeds too much, but just to make sure.
Ms. Jones, could you get closer to your mic? I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thank you. Not to get into the weeds too much, but just to make sure that there's going to be a process or procedure that's going to be followed. So that's what these are, and I've got 3 of them. One of the issues before was keeping track of phone calls, but in addition to that, returning them. So as long as that's been looked at, there's going to be a procedure, process, you keep track of that. That's important, because I don't know about anybody else, but I got a ton of calls about that. And I couldn't answer them. That was a bigger issue. I couldn't answer them. And then a checklist or protocol for drivers, whether it's daily or weekly or whatever it is, to make sure that their buses are, I guess, running appropriately or things along that line, because to have something break down and then, like you said, they didn't follow the other processes, like where's my kid, where's the child, where's the this or that, are concerns that people have. And then the last one, is there a time frame with which protocols will be reviewed with the drivers and whoever else is interacting with the public, so that on a kind of a reminder basis, and if you're tracking this, you can tell them how often these things are being handled or monitored or whatever?
Yep. I'll start with the phone calls. And so that is a work in progress. We've actually made some very fundamental changes in terms of removing all direct line numbers. And so if you're going to call the 8384 bus, then that's the number that should be going to everybody's. So that is one thing that we're putting in place. We're working with our IT team on that. So it is not where it needs to be, so I don't want to sugarcoat anything. But it is a work in progress, and we're working hard on that. And Greg is really instrumental. We're also pulling together a focus group. And so right now we have a survey out to our school leaders and getting information about communications. And then it's also going to go to, or is going to our families, working with Tracy Hill on that. The pre-trip that you're talking about, there's a daily checklist that our drivers have to do. You have to do that every day. So at 4 a.m., I'm going to try to get this right. At 4 a.m., our fluid crew comes in, and they check all the fluids of the buses and do some work there. But then drivers come in beginning at 5 a.m., and they do the pre-check checklists. And that happens at each depot. So that's ongoing, but again, we're working on improvements with that. But if you see any, and that, they get under the hood with that. If you see anything out of the ordinary, there's a process in our mechanics. It goes to our mechanics, and they address it, and we'll take a bus offline. So we've got right now about 250 buses, about 125 at each depot. We do not need that many. We will be retiring some buses. But if a bus has to come offline, we have another bus to put in place. And I'm sorry, I do not remember your third comment.
When there will be a process for training.
Oh, yeah. So the training thing, and I think that's the important part of it, it cannot just be at the beginning of the year. Being an educator, professional development or professional learning is at the core of what we do. That is translating to our team now. And so it's not a one and done, and it is an ongoing process, and this leadership is making that happen. So, yeah.
Mr. Briggs?
Yes, Chief Thompson, thank you very much, both of you, for that presentation. That was great. And you did answer one of my questions. We have 250 buses, you said. What's the average age of those buses?
Oh, you would ask me that. So we can get you the exact information. We were able to upgrade a number of buses with ESSER funds. We had, last year, this year, we retired 50 buses. It doesn't net us a lot, but I'm looking at my financial partner. We got about maybe 400,000 for the 50 buses that came offline. We're looking to do the same with another 50. We can run a really tight fleet with 200 buses, and so that's going to be our sweet spot. But in terms of the ages of our buses, we do have some of our buses that will be coming off in terms of under warranty, and what we would love to get to, and it will be a work in progress, it's not something that's going to happen overnight, but have sort of a 10-year plan where maybe you put on 25 new buses, retire 25 buses, so that we're always keeping our fleet up to speed. And I think that's a good strategy, and it's a strategy we're looking to do. We didn't get to building brighter futures right away, and this is another process that's in place with that.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Mr. Billups?
Thank you, Chair Ellicott. Excuse me. Chief Thompson, and thank you, Bill, also for the presentation. I do have a few questions around just maybe some things that I've heard from parents and, have experienced, to be quite honest. In the mornings, when a bus is not able to go out, is there a process for that information to be communicated to parents so that they're aware that it's going to be a different bus, it might be a different number, it might be a different driver, just so that the student waiting for the bus and the parents are aware?
So our reality today is it's very, what's the word I would use, team, episodic. We know right away when we make a change with the bus. Disseminating that information is where we need to improve. And so one of the tools that we have is the parent app, but I know Greg is working really hard so that we're able to note that change. We also have to notify schools, because they sometimes have that direct connect to the parents. Our direct connect to the parents is through the parent app, but it's very low usage, and so that's an area where we can improve. But standing here today, we can take a bus off, we can reassign a bus, we can get a sub-driver. We'll notify the schools. Notifying parents, it's hit or miss, and so that's an area that we're working hard to improve on.
Okay. And then as far as, I know, I think, Bill, I can't recall who mentioned it, but sometimes with the call-offs, is call-offs a concern? Is there a reason why call-offs might be higher than, normal or average at times?
I wish I had an answer straight. I think, as you could expect, it's higher on Mondays and Fridays. I also think there are opportunities with call-off procedures. That's contractual right now, but I could start at 5 or I could start at 6. So if I start at 6, I can call off at 5. If I start at 5, I call off at 4. So it's not a clean, and you can do the same in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And so, we have drivers start at 6, 6:30, 6:45, 7. I'm looking at the team, 7. And so this is something that we can improve upon, but right now, contractually, we have to be responsive to the call-off procedures. I would say we're not any higher, honestly, I thought it was really high when we first started. We are not any higher than our peers, when we've looked at other districts.
Okay.
It's a challenge, though. It's a challenge right now.
Okay.
So.
I just got a couple other questions from the slides. As far as I think Bill talked about checking the contracted vehicles. F/when, because all vehicles have issues at points in times. What is the expectation level for the contractors to get the repairs done? Are they expected to get it done on a timeline? Is the district able to partner with them to get those repairs done? Is there anything around that?
Sure. By law, the contractors are supposed to have their vans certified by a certified mechanic twice a year. Okay. When I was talking about what CMSD would be doing for an inspection of the vans, it's not so much that we're going to be inspecting the mechanical of it. Okay. We're inspecting to make sure that they have the sign on the top, they have the lettering on the side of the van, they have the first aid kit and the fusing and stuff. We're not doing a mechanical inspection. We're just making sure they have what is required by law in there. But at that time, they're going to give to us a sign from a mechanic, a certified mechanic, that vehicle is good to go.
Okay. And then I have one more question. And I thought that I read on the PowerPoint somewhere that around contracts, third-party contracts, would it be fair to expect that moving forward, we would not have any third-party contracts?
Yeah, that would be my goal, and let me explain that. And I may have not said it correctly in the document. I call it a third party. Okay, that person, that company, does not actually own any vans. What they're doing is they're contracting with all these other van companies, and they're going to upcharge it. Well, we're doing that. We're checking all the van companies, so why do we need to pay somebody to be the third-party broker? Because we have to do it ourselves. So that's why, and I may not have the right wording for that, but I call it a third-party broker. Okay, but they don't own any vans, and they don't hire any individual van employees. They hire companies.
Okay.
To that.
Gotcha. Chair Ellicott, I had one more question. I'm sorry.
All right.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Chief Thompson, if you could, I can't remember who mentioned it. It was kind of briefly mentioned that we have to transport, our transportation includes non-public and charter. Can you, just kind of for the public, can we kind of talk about like what that entails and maybe even why we're required to do that?
Sure. So for non-public and charter, whenever any district, it doesn't matter where you live, if you live within the city of Cleveland, we are responsible for transporting students. And so if you go to a non-public school and you're within the same range that we use for our students, which is 1 to 3 miles, then we do provide transportation. Many of our, we have to, we don't have a choice. Many of our high schools, they'll do in lieu of transportation. And so that's a whole nother process. And a parent, it's a form that gets submitted. We work with the school, we work with the parent, and we deem that student's in lieu of, and then the parent will get a check for in lieu of us transporting the students.
A check from us. A check from us.
A check, yes, it is a check, yeah. The district is responsible for all of that. And so when we share that, and those are the numbers, we put together like a quick fact sheet, which we have, because just to understand those numbers, I wish it was a choice. It's not a choice. It is the responsibility of the district within that city to also provide transportation services. So right now, we have 90 non-public and charter routes that we work with, and we work with contracted services on that. It's not our buses, but we are contracting out with providers to provide transportation for those schools. And that comes in at about, to be exact, 4,772 students we transport. So, yeah.
Yeah, one other thing I just wanted to just comment on. One, I'm thanking Chief Thompson and our leadership. Bill, we are grateful to have you in terms of your experience and your wisdom for helping this, and everyone on our transportation team. I know, as you mentioned here, there are a lot of issues we have to face with our transportation team, but we also have a very hardworking team. I know Chief Thompson is actually out at the depot. She's been there this semester, really even before this semester, even last semester, spending days out there. Bill is actually on site working there, working with our team that is working hard. Tamara, April, the whole team. So glad to have Dr. Primus's work here. We have a lot of work ahead of us, but they're working hard. Our drivers work hard as well. I've been out to the depots. They're a hard-working crew. It is not easy when you have to get up early and transport. I've rode the buses with some of our bus drivers when they're doing these routes, and they have to do multiple different routes. So I just want you guys to know that there's a complex work that we're doing. We're holding ourselves accountable, as we should, to get the questions answered, and it is a very significant operation. There are challenges that all systems are really facing, and as all things, we don't hide from the challenges, we step into them. And so when we look into the support that we're providing here and providing the updates, we watch us work as we continue to make these improvements. So thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Dr. Morgan, I did want to say a couple of things on the transportation front. It feels like it's so loud in here. I acknowledge what you said, Dr. Morgan. I think that's really important to remember. This is a huge operation. Acknowledge the hard work of the team, as well as the progress so far, right, and the effort to uncover what needs to shift and the efficiencies that need to be built in. And also, I do want to acknowledge how harmful and difficult it is for our families and our students when these challenges happen, right? Like, yes, this is hard to do. You could not get me to do your jobs. I can only imagine how difficult it is, and the bus drivers as well, right? Especially, the operation of the whole thing. Dr. Primus, thank you for coming on and leading the charge. And also, when acknowledging when our families, when our students don't get picked up, like the level of stress that that creates for them. If you're a parent and you went to work, you thought your kid was going to get to school, like that is an extremely challenging situation, right? And not to mention the learning disruptions. And our goal is for our students to learn. So I want to acknowledge all of those things at once and appreciate the work that's being done to improve the system that we have. Mr. Billups, I'm so glad you asked about the non-public funding piece, because I was dying to mention something, and I always bring this up, which is that we do fund transportation for families that opt into or opt out into private schools specifically. And I want to share also, and I've shared this with the board, you know, that's on top of the funding that the state already gives families for vouchers that our public district does not get. And I believe we get about $5,200 per student from the state. Thank you, Mr. Stockdale is nodding his head, so I'm right about that. Vouchers give families more than $8,000 per student from the state, right? And that funding is not contingent on whether you are able to pay on your own. You could be a multi-millionaire, even a billionaire, and get those vouchers to send your kids to a private school. And on top of that, we as a district have to pay for transportation, as well as many other things as well, Dr. Morgan, which we don't have to get into now. But back to my comments earlier, we need the support of the full community when it comes to making positive change so that students, not just in our district, but most students in Ohio, most students in the US go to public schools, and they deserve the same funding. They deserve to benefit from the tax dollars that we pay to educate our future citizens, workforce, just human beings. So I wanted to mention that. Thank you for raising it, Mr. Billups.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? All right, is there any old business? Is there any new business? I will mention that under state law, the Board of Education serves as the appointing and taxing authority of the Cleveland Public Library. This means that the Board of Education makes appointments to the library's Board of Trustees, and the library's Board of Trustees serves as the governing body of the public library. Trustees must be residents and registered voters of Cuyahoga County. And the next opening on the library board is for a full 4-year term commencing July 2nd, 2026. Persons interested in being considered for this appointment should complete an application on the CMSD website Board of Education page at clevelandmetroschools.org/Board of Education. The application deadline is Tuesday, May 26th. The next regular board meeting will be a board work session on Tuesday, April 14th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. at Arnold Pinckney East Professional Center. And before we make a motion for executive session, I do want to ask everyone to please drive really safely home, because it sounds crazy out there, as we can all tell. I've received like 9 calls from the National Weather Service during this meeting, so hope everyone gets home safe. The chair will now entertain a motion that the board enter into executive session for the purpose of considering the employment and appointment of public employees and officials, preparing for negotiations with public employees concerning their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment, and conferring with attorneys concerning disputes involving the Board of Education that are the subject of pending or imminent court action.
So move.
Second.
Mr. Stockdale, please call the roll on this motion.
Ms. Ellicott?
Yes.
Mr. Billups?
Yes.
Mr. Briggs?
Yes.
Ms. Jones? Mrs. LeBron?
Yes.
Mrs. Peak?
Yes.
Motion passes with 6 votes.
Thank you. The board will now move into executive session. Following executive session, the board will return to this room without conducting any further business and adjourn the meeting.
When I say food is, you say medicine. Food is? Food is? Woo! Give it up! Yay!
So what we have going on here today is a Meet the Farmer event. So we have this year partnered with 4 Cleveland growers that grow the vegetables that are on the salad bars that are in some of our schools. and the students can meet the farmer. Today we have Farmer Sarah and Farmer Jamel, and they get to meet the farmer that grows their food. They can ask them questions. We have trading cards, and the students get to try the produce items that the farmers grow, and it just encourages them to try something new, to eat fresh vegetables, and they can meet the farmer, and then they get to vote on if they like the produce item or not, and they get fun stickers, and we have what if they write on the board of what they liked about the product.
This is one of the youngest demographics that we can have an influence on, and when you're talking about school lunches, this is food that they're going to be eating daily for a majority of the year, right? And so to be able to introduce local foods on a daily basis to students within the Cleveland area is just evolutionary.
We're talking about the benefits of fresh foods and also the difference between local fresh foods and those you might get, say, at a grocery store that might have been shipped from all over the country or world to get to your plate, often picked months and months earlier and don't have the same level of nutrition or flavor. So giving them that experience of eating something that was grown locally and why that's so important and why it's so important to grow your own food.
It was kind of sour. It was sour. And that was my first time ever trying that, but it had a pretty color.
One of our students, they did something special for someone in the community. And so we get all these people here to celebrate and to recognize what Allison did for someone in her community.
That morning while boarding the school bus, you noticed a small child wandering alone on the street, wearing only a t-shirt. Recognizing the danger the child was in, you immediately alerted the bus driver and took action to help. I want to give you a First District Commander's coin. It's got a 1 on the front for the First District and the seal of the Cleveland Division of Police on the back.
And I saw the girl walk out, and the bus driver was about to hit her.
And so what did you say to the bus driver?
I was like, stop. And then he told me, who was that? Is that your niece? I was like, no, that's not my niece. And then I went off the bus to go grab her.
It shows a great deal of awareness and maturity for her age. Most kids, like you say, they're on the bus, they're talking, they're on their phone, you know, and the fact that she noticed, she paid attention, you know, to what was going on at that particular time is just, you know, amazing.
I think it's very important because, you know, we're a community. We work together, we help each other, and that's how we get things done, and she's already doing that. Children can teach us a lot, and I think she did. Be aware, look around, help people when you see them in need.
I don't really care about the gifts because it was just the point to save somebody, anybody that need help.
Hi, I'm Darielle Snipes with CMSD Communications. Today, I am so excited. I am hanging out with 2 of the Senate League girls flag football teams, John Hay and Rhodes. This sport is gaining popularity. Right now, CMSD has 7 teams. I'm so excited to learn more about flag football. Let's go. Joining me now is head coach of the John Hay ladies flag football team, Coach Vanetta Kreider. Welcome.
Thank you.
So I know this is an exciting sport. It's a growing sport. It just got sanctioned by the Ohio High School Athletic Association. That's exciting news. So now your girls can go for state championships.
Yes.
But you know, some of us were brand new to flag football. Tell me, what is the difference between flag football and just basic football?
The difference for flag football and basic football for our girls is that we actually get to compete this year. Outside of only using flags and not be able to contact each other, and we have to wear mouthpieces.
Okay, but just talk about the growing popularity of this girls' sport and how exciting it is, especially here in CMSD and the Senate League.
Yes, right now it means that girls flag football is now recognized by OSHA. So now we get more opportunities to get school funding. So luckily we're a Division I school, so we had about 40 girls that come and try out. So this year we were expecting even more.
I mean, what do you think about that more girls want to play football?
I'm excited. I'm excited to teach them and for them to want to be competitive and lead and be outside their comfort zone.
The fact that it's, when people think about football, they think about it as a male-dominated sport. The fact that flag football, especially girls flag football, is taking off, it gives young ladies an opportunity to play what once was known as a male-dominated sport. Can you just talk about that opportunity for them?
Yes, now it gives the girls a platform to compete and lead, and we're breaking stereotypes and proving that football isn't just for boys. Anybody can play as long as you got the passion and the skill for it.
And joining me now are two players from the girls flag football team at Rhodes. Welcome. Tell me your names and what grade you're in.
I'm Aaliyah. I go to Rhodes Environmental Studies and I'm in 10th grade.
My name is Naya. I go to RCCA and I'm in 10th grade.
Wonderful. So just tell me, because I don't know, I'm learning, what is the difference between flag football and football?
Well, flag football and regular football, we already know it's not as much contact, but there's a lot you can do. Like the quarterback can't run.
The ball is smaller, less people on the field, so it gives. And flag is it's quick. It's not like football. Football you have more time. Flag is quick, and you have like less time.
Okay, and then you also have the flags. Yeah. How hard or easy is it to get another opponent's flag?
It depends on how fast the person is moving.
Yeah, definitely.
And what moves they're pulling out. But usually, if you're catching up to the person, it's very easy. They're not hard to pull or nothing, so.
So tell me, why did you guys want to join the team?
Well, I wanted to join the team because ever since I was very young, I always played regular football with my brothers. And when I got older, I realized it was something I always wanted to do. In 2023, I played flag football with boys, but then I got scouted for a girls team, and we went all the way to nationals in Las Vegas and won a championship ring there. And then when I came here, there was no flag football team, so I asked if I could play tackle. But my mom wouldn't let me, and then I found out later on we had a flag football team, and I was like, oh, this is my sport, so I'm definitely going to play.
I also feel like a sport that was really made for boys that girls never really got the opportunity to play. When I saw it at Rhodes, I feel like a sport that was always classified as a boys sport, girls being able to play, I feel like that was really cool, so I really wanted to take that opportunity to play. And also, Coach O'Neill, she really inspired me to play. She was the assistant basketball coach, and it really gave me something to do, and now it's something I really would do the rest of my years in high school and see where it takes me.
Right, so this is the second season for the team. Just talk about how fun it is and just the team camaraderie that you ladies have.
It was very fun. In the first year, it was some rough patches, but we always got through it. Our coach, she's a very great coach because she is more informational about flag football than basketball. So when she is out here, she put her heart on the field just like we do.
Yeah, Coach O'Neill, she really great. She keeps us all lifted up. Something could go wrong, and she was always bringing the joy. It was our first year was really fun. We went real far, and just seeing where it took us, it made me excited for the next season to come. What we gonna bring to the table, and flag, I didn't expect it to be I thought it was just gonna be something to do. But when we actually started playing, I'm like, it's fun. It's really fun.
Now another difference is that flag football is played in the spring and not in the fall like regular football. Well, can you just talk about the fact that now it is a sanctioned sport, and so now you guys can go for a state championship? Just talk about you guys could be the state champs.
That's very exciting to me because, like I said, I always love football in general. So for me to have this opportunity to probably ever get scholarships to play in college is just something I want to achieve.
I think that's really good. It opens up more opportunities for the girls and gives girls something to do, because we always, as a girl, we always doubt it, or we don't always get as much opportunity, so it just opens the door for girls sports.
Now it's still, even though you guys don't have pads and a helmet, it still can be tough. I mean, it's still it's still a contact sport, would you not say?
You're definitely gonna fall. You're definitely gonna
get bumps.
But it's fun.
Yes, it's very exciting.
All right, well, thank you, ladies.
The Board of Education's job is to make sure that the right adult behaviors are in place so that students can learn and grow in school every day.
I hope to motivate the scholars in some form of capacity, really to make sure that they're inspired by the work that we do for them. This is a job of service, a fully volunteer role, but the people that are serving on the board, myself included, are doing it out of passion and pure hope of the scholars' futures. And so I hope that they start to believe in themselves the same way that we believe in them.
Having been an educator all my life, I thought I would have a significant role to play in shaping what our young people and young scholars and our future leaders are going to be doing with their education. I believe in paying it forward, and I still believe I am paying it forward for myself.
I am an inveterate volunteer, and so I saw this as an opportunity to give back to the Cleveland community and try to make a difference.
I enjoy being engaged with people in my neighborhood, hearing from them, learning what they think about different things, hearing suggestions, hearing thoughts, even the complaints. I enjoy engaging with the students, and I think that's my role with being a board member, is engaging with the community in every way possible.
I'm out there every day talking to people, sitting on every community work group that you can think of. What I want to accomplish is that we level up the opportunities for our children to receive the best education possible. And I want you to be able to discover all the goodness in you, because we all have something that is unique about us. So we want to give you the opportunity to explore that and make good decisions once you leave the school system.
I believe that this district can be a premier district, and I'd love to be remembered for pushing a standard of excellence.
I wanted to give back to the school system that I participated in from kindergarten to graduating senior. I'm hoping to make a difference, have a positive impact, and see the test scores and graduation rates increase. I also hope to inspire other CMSD alum to give back to CMSD with their time and support.
I'm grateful to interact with so many wonderful people, brilliant individuals who have the capabilities and skill sets to really make our city even greater. And I'm just honored to be a part of the plan of the CMSD and the service of this community.
As a kid myself, I moved around a lot and I went to a lot of different schools. And what I saw firsthand is that all children are born equal with the same rights to education, but not all schools are created equal. And some schools have more resources than others, some schools have more of the right practices than others, and I wanted to be a part of making sure that our school system was the right system for our children so they could have the education that they deserve.
We all have different skill sets, different experiences, different backgrounds that we all bring to the table when it's time for us to have these discussions. We bring different perspectives and different life experiences. And so being able to sit at the table with other leaders in our community and people who actually are invested in the Cleveland Metropolitan School District system, it means that we're providing different perspectives. We're looking at it from different lenses and different angles, which is also representative of our community, right?
You know, our students achieving everything that they possibly can, achieving and striving towards our goals and guardrails that our board laid out. I think that, you know, producing students that can enter the world in whatever way they choose to and be successful is really the only thing to accomplish from my perspective.
Most importantly is increasing student outcomes. So we have our challenges, but my board colleagues and I and Dr. Morgan and his incredible staff are heavily focused on that, and we're going to do everything in our power to make it happen.
My favorite quote is Man in the Arena, actually. It's by former President Teddy Roosevelt, and it's really about not paying attention to the critics. It's not the critic who counts, it's not the person on the sidelines, it's the person who's getting dusty in the arena every single day and getting back up again and again and again, even after failure. And even if you fail at something, at least you failed by daring greatly. But the only way to be great is to try.
Today it is the last scrimmage to find out who goes to state. It has been a really great journey. It's different learning about STEM and like robotics and tech.
My favorite part about building the robot is all the teamwork it takes. The teamwork, I feel like it brings our team together, and I really like that part.
The robot has to launch artifacts, which is similar to a ball. So they're launching it into a pyramid type situation and get those points. And then you have to line your robot in a certain order to get points. It's a lot of challenges in depth in getting points.
Our robot, it took us a lot of time to really build it. It took a lot of patience. We came across many problems and challenges, like our chain kept breaking, so we had to find a lot of solutions to that problem. And it was a lot of gracious professionalism used.
This is their thing, and they really take it seriously, and they come out and they try, and you just, like this morning, one of my girls did something in one of the presentations, and I started to tear up because I was just so proud of them because I've never seen this child do this, and she just blossomed right in front of me.
Hey CMSD family, I'm Tiffany and we are back with our final episode of On Guard CMSD Safety and Security. Today I'm joined with a few scholars from our Garrett Morgan campus, and they are here to tell us about how our safety officers create a better learning environment and how the feeling of safety helps scholars to learn better. So in your opinion, how do safety officers help to create a better learning environment?
I feel like they make a better learning environment because kids don't have to worry about things outside of school because security already has it like put together and make sure the kids are safe around the campus.
Just to piggyback off what he said a little bit, I agree. Like, you don't have to focus. You can focus on learning and learning only. You don't have to focus on anything outside of that.
Yeah, the security officers do like help us get to class on time, make sure we aren't getting sidetracked. So they help us like push us to our classes to make sure we're on track.
And why do you think having safety officers is important for the school community? So you kind of talked about a little bit about what they do, but what is the feeling that they give you?
It's like comfortability, like which I feel like is really important when you're trying like in a learning institute.
I feel more like I can get like my education without worrying about anything.
Yeah, like it provides a like almost like a safety net of knowing that they're there with us to help us if we are having any issues that occur. Yes.
So can you let me know, what do you appreciate most about our safety officers?
I appreciate that you can, like, they're safety officers, but you can also have a conversation with them. Like, they're here to protect us, but they are also, like, they have a character. Like, they are people, so they, like, know how to talk to us because they were once us at a certain point in time. So.
Yeah, like to piggyback off of that, like I appreciate how you can sometimes have a conversation with them if you're ever in need, if you ever need to just like talk about a situation you're having at home or an issue you're having at school, you could just talk to them and they'll give a reply and try to help you.
Yeah, they're really like good. They're really like calm and chill. They like to talk to the student and try to like encourage them, and it's cool.
A big thank you to our safety and security team and our scholars over here at Garrett Morgan High School. Now let's head over to John F. Kennedy. Now we're here at John F. Kennedy High School with a few of our scholars here to tell us why safety and security matters for their learning environment. So first, in your opinion, how do safety officers help to create a better learning environment?
Make the students feel more safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
we
they
need more
like
security guards. Like,
yeah, they help
make us feel safe.
help the teachers sometimes too, and the principals. You're more comfortable. You ain't got to worry about people coming here doing stuff they ain't supposed
Crazy
to be doing. You know.
So to feed off that, what do you appreciate most about your safety officers here?
They help a lot.
Like, I feel like they all like they make sure we good. They help the principal, admin team with the kids, and yeah.
Yeah, we got a good bond with them too. Yeah. Some of them take their job too serious, but that's good
because we need that. We need that
yeah.
like that structure.
Do you think, in your opinion, feeling secure helps students learn their best?
Yeah. They ain't got to worry about nothing like no danger or nothing like that.
Yeah,
you have
like
a safe
here,
learning environment.
I feel like here, like the security guards here, like if we need them, like we could always go talk to them, like
yeah, like
and then,
got a good bond with most of them. You know, we knew them for most of the time we've been here, so.
What you see before you is a culmination of 2.5 years of work. But moreover, there was 86 years of blood, sweat, and tears put forth by men and women who comprise the Tuskegee experiment. Let history show that in the course of human endeavor, that never have so many owed so much to so few.
My first reaction was it looked a lot better than I did it in class. It took a lot, and it's just, I'm proud to see that it's up there, and I'm glad everyone else can see it too. I think it's good that the Tuskegee Airmen get their word out and their faces out because they helped this world, and I'm glad that I was able to help them represent it. I seen everyone do their painting in class. I seen like their entire process through it, and now looking at it inside the airport, it's like, wow, they did that. That's amazing.
My name is Lori Lane, and this is my father, Earl Roscoe Lane. He was with the 332nd of the Tuskegee Airmen. I think they did a fantastic job in doing it. I know when I was speaking to a group of them, they said they did a lot of research on it, but they were so open to listening and to learning more so that we have more young people that are able to display their talent, learn, and it's one, as a teacher, I know it's one of the greatest ways for students to learn, and for this will stay with them for the rest of their lives.
I'm very happy today because I am sharing the CEO seat with a very amazing young scholar. She attends A.B. Hart and she's in 7th grade over there. This is Victorious, she goes by Tori Blackman, and she's CEO for the day. So CEO Blackman, yes, let's give her a hand.
I have been going to meetings and hanging out with some of the high schoolers and thinking about what high school I want to go to and just having fun with them.
To be a leader, you have to step in. It takes boldness. It takes not being afraid. And so far, Tori has been stepping up to the plate and showing that. Having a scholar with me has been amazing. And I mean, she was at the table earlier today with some of Cleveland's top leaders, and just being right at the table just means a lot to have that seat at the table. And so, and to be a young scholar, young lady of color, that just means a lot when we think about representation.
So today we started on our robots. Well, we started on robots like 2 days ago, but today we added like our finishing touches, and we made them waterproof with pool noodles. We attached motors to them with wax in it, so it's waterproofed. And those motors spin at a very high speed, so it can propel itself through the water and able to do its tasks. It's so cool because usually robots are like on the surface, right? This time it's underwater, which makes it harder to see, but more funner because like you don't know what's gonna happen.
The machine itself, you can program it first from your computer. Once you access, this is via Bluetooth. Basically you can control it from there and automate it wherever program you want to, set it at a specific time. Experiencing all of this, I've actually had a lot of fun being able to come up here and just learn about a machine. And I've personally been part of a robotics team, so being able to experience a machine automating other stuff like agriculture is a really good experience. I had a lot of fun.
So I just got to Cleveland. I just wanted to come out and see y'all. We working out every day. We got a purpose. We got something we trying to accomplish and achieve. But I'm trying to bring Cleveland, of course, a Super Bowl. What inspires me to keep going, I would say, knowing I got a lot of people watching me, knowing that I'm a positive influence to the youth. That's why I say what keeps me going. So like even coming here, seeing y'all.
You go to the website, you type in the access code, and you're in. Your kids' pictures are there, and you could easily, I have kids at 2 different schools, you can easily switch from school to school and keep up on top of it.
Everything's right there. Like everybody always has their phone with them, so you can easily access it to your phone.
It's a relief for me knowing that my child has the best chance that they can, knowing every day they wake up, they can go to school and, take advantage of the day.
The winner of the first annual Rise Pitch competition is, drum roll please, Riverside! Rise was birthed out of an opportunity that we thought was very, very important for us to be able to give students opportunity to have their voices centered. So we asked them a question. The question is, if you could solve a problem in your community with unlimited resources, how would you do it?
I'm 13 years old in the 7th grade at Elmira Elementary, and our group is excited to be here today to share our opportunity for action.
I feel like that our gaming lab will help a lot of students because of these new technology industries that are coming from these foreign countries.
which can excel our students and improvise them and get them set for life.
As a basketball player myself, sports helped me with a lot of teamwork, leadership, and even helped me with my mental health. So for me, I'm just asking, can we get more opportunities for sports all around the other school year?
We also wanted to make sure our ideas weren't just meaningful, but doable. We're excited to introduce a free roll of things we think that can make Riverside better right away.
Our goal is to think big for our classmates, our teachers, and our whole school.
Congratulations, and I hope that you have an amazing evening. Would you see my glasses?
Today we have the ceremony award of the Seal of Biliteracy. We have students who took the STEM test this year and they got the Seal of Biliteracy from different languages.
I speak multiple languages, well, 2 actually, Spanish and English. I'm excited that I earned this because I know it will bring a lot of opportunities for me in the future, so I'm very proud.
The Seal of Biliteracy is one of the seals that students could earn upon graduation, and that it gives them a certification for being not only bilingual, that they can speak 2 languages, but they can also read and write both languages, and it's grown tremendously. It's a very, very important skill set that they will be transferring into the real world as they become adults, and they go not only to college, but also to the workforce, the military, and it also hits a lot of our goals for college and career readiness.
Hi, I'm Darielle Snipes, and I'm here at Orchard STEAM School, and today we'll be taking a look at the ribbon dancing team as they prepare to perform at a school-wide event. And we are here with Felicia Kelly, who is the 5Cs coordinator and the ribbon dancers coach, and behind us, we have the ribbon dancers. So just tell me, how did you get this program started here at Orchard STEM?
Well, I did a praise dance for my mom for Mother's Day, and I used a ribbon, and I brought the ribbon in to demonstrate part of what we call demonstration of learning, and I brought it into the ribbon dance to the school, and the ribbon dancers that are now ribbon dancers loved it then and asked me, can we do the same thing? And I said, of course, and so I bought some ribbons and we started practicing and the team was created.
But you have told me that it has exploded. So many kids want to be a part of it now. So what is the age range of your ribbon dancers?
So we have 1st grade all the way up to 6th grade.
Nice. And
yes.
So while dancing is beautiful, but you are here to instill life lessons into these kings and queens. Can you tell me about it?
Yes, absolutely. And they will tell you my first rule of thumb is positive energy. I have it all over the media center here, and they know that we are about uplifting each other, about encouraging each other, about helping each other. So those are kind of the life lessons that I'm trying to instill so that they don't just incorporate it here in the 1st grade, 2nd grade, middle school, high school. These are lessons that I try to teach them for life. How to be kind to each other, how to treat each other, how to be sensitive to different situations that might come up.
So this is a STEAM school.
Yes.
So, and even though you're doing dance, which is arts, which is part of STEAM, you're also incorporating some other things. Can you talk about some of the things that you're trying to teach them as well when it comes to STEAM and dancing?
Okay, so the t-shirts that they're wearing today, they actually help make. We have Cricut machines, we have silhouette machines, and heat transfer paper to actually make the t-shirts, so that the t-shirts that they're wearing, they made them. And also 3D machines, we have laser cutters, we have actually, if you don't mind me stepping off camera a little bit, we have the capability of making mugs, and they help to design their own character on my mug, and it says, I love my ribbon dancers, and each ribbon dancer picked out their design and we made this mug for me.
Wonderful. I'm joined now with Mila and Paige. What grade are you in, Paige?
3rd.
And what grade are you in?
6th.
And tell me, why did you guys want to join the ribbon dancers?
So I can learn new things.
What about you?
Because I always wanted to dance in a group, so I always found passion for Miss Kelly's moves,
and that's why I joined ribbon dance.
So besides dancing, what else have you learned? I know she talks about, life lessons. So tell me what life lessons you have learned.
I've learned to work with a team, not by yourself, and sometimes you just have to work together so you can make things happen.
Right, you're right. And what about you? What lesson have you learned?
I learned how to collaborate with my team and have teamwork, and when somebody's doing something, I have to encourage them.
Right, and some of the collaboration you guys have done is you had some art students paint this for you guys for your performance. Just talk about how you like performing in front of others and showing your other students what you've learned and show the beautiful dances that you've learned.
I enjoyed a lot because it's got me not to be scared when people are watching, so I'm not shy anymore like I used to. And now I talk loud, I'm just loud, all vibes, and when we perform, it makes me feel great because I show myself.
Good morning, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, no beeping, hold that up.
When the kids walk through the door, there's a personal relationship here. So immediately they have a connection with an adult as soon as they've entered the building.
Typical day at James Ford Rhodes is being active with the kids, trying to be proactive with the kids before it becomes reactive.
Sometimes we have to stop and counsel or assist a student that might be going through something when they came in this morning.
I greet the students, make sure the hall is clear, interact, ask them how their day was going, walk through, interact with the parents, the community, the mailman, the neighbors across the street. They familiar with me because I'm outside, I'm greeting with them.
I try to walk around, try to help the kids. I'm not trying to police them as a security officer. Can't do that. You try to help them in every way possible, and that's what I do. I'm a resource for them.
Going through the detectives, in the long run, I hear them say, boy, if it wasn't for y'all doing that, this, that, and that. So they really do like that detective, but just knowing that you in the halls.
And the students see that, and they see how I, if they beep or they see how I go through their bags, I don't play, so they feel safe. They be like, oh, there go Miss Campbell, Miss Campbell. When they fear or something, they come straight, Miss Campbell, so-and-so, and I'll be like, okay. So that makes me feel that, they see that I'm serious about my job,
I have noticed if we're referencing the phone collection, a lot of the students are interacting more with one another instead of just being stuck on their phones. They've started to build relationships with one another and do different things that last year and the year before that we weren't actually noticing anymore.
Especially with how we do the yonder cases, bringing in, securing book bags, making sure that no items or weapons are brought into school. I think it makes students and scholars feel much more comfortable, much more safe.
When the kids come through, they understand there are necessary things that have to happen. But when the officers treat them in that way, like human beings, and make them feel special, they're not thinking so much about those things. They're thinking about the relationship they're building. It's the most important thing for everyone in a building, is that relationship you have with kids. And if it's positive, usually you're going to get positive results. Not all the time, but more often than not.
I would do it all over again for anybody. Hi, I'm Trisha Page, and I'm a first grade teacher at Andrew J. Rickoff. I had a couple students that were having lunch in the classroom with me that day. I was sitting at my table, like here in the back of the room, and her back was toward me this way.
So when I was eating my taco, I tried to dip my other one in the meat and cheese, but when it went to my throat, I choked on it.
She was choking, and she was making the choking. Her hands were on her throat, and there was no sound whatsoever. I got up, ran to her, told the other teacher to go run and get the nurse. She was sitting in her seat, so
when she told me to get up, my tears, they did this.
I went underneath of her her armpits here. I picked her up, I stood her up, and they started doing the Heimlich on her. And she was silent for a minute, and it was really scary. I don't know who was more scared, if she was more scared or if I was more scared. But eventually she started crying and making sound.
He observes our reward. Thank you for saving my life.
You're welcome. And I would do it all over again.
The Wake Up Cafe was created to give the students real-world experiences promoting communication, social, and life skills, and also to help the students gain independence and confidence.
We're also helping our students build independence and prepare them for future vocational opportunities. We have students that leave us and go on to high school, and when they get into a lot of our high school programs, they also have opportunities similar to this, and this prepares them to step into that role with some experience and some skills.
The students empower themselves by gaining pride and confidence through their roles. They are speaking up, they're supporting each other, they're problem solving, and it's empowering to see them step into their leadership roles and show what they're capable of.
I feel like coming to the Wake Up Cafe, we're able to see the capabilities of autistic individuals, and it helps to support inclusiveness.
It's a really great way to break down misconceptions and celebrate what's possible.
This year's competition is water theme based. How the competition goes is there's a reef. And of course, if you see on the theme, they're like the purple, it looks like a reef. And then we have the coral. The coral is basically like this, like a white pipe. And then the algae is a ball. And basically, to score points, your robot have to put algae onto the reef.
Each aligns 3 separate robotics teams. So it would be us and 2 different robotics teams that are just randomly picked to work with us. Usually before a match, we'll meet up with those 2 other robotics teams and we'll talk to them about strategy and what their robot can do and what ours can do. And usually we work together to kind of figure out the best game plan.
There's a autonomous ranking point, which is all 3 robots move off of a starting line, and then at least 1 robot scores 1 coral anywhere on the reef.
To build the robot, it takes like the whole team, which is about 20 people. And then we need people to program the robot, people to wire the robot. But once we have it all built and on the field, we only need 1 person to control the drive and 1 person to control the elevator and score. We also have a 3rd person who tells them what to do and looks at the whole field and is in charge of strategy.
The main challenge was just building the robot overall. It took about 10 weeks to build. It took a lot of teamwork and cooperation to build such a beautiful machine, and it also helped us learn new machines that normal high school hasn't used before, including mills, CNC machines, long drills, and just all kinds of different things.
This is actually one of the bigger competitions here in Ohio, and it's very diverse. So we'll be competing against some of the top competition today.
This season, this is our last regional. So we participated in Miami Valley, and this will be our last for this season. Our goal is to go home with a blue banner.
I've noticed observing the students' mental health is very important for the safety of the staff as well as everyone in the building.
A lot of our students feel comfortable talking to staff. Many staff members just kind of serve as just a listener, and they counsel where they can.
I've been with the district for almost a year now, so I know mostly everybody's names now. Everybody know my name. So me engaging with the kids, I'm just like an older sister to them. They come to talk to me about anything, and then we all been young before, so we know how it go.
Just talking to the scholars, just asking them questions, just something simple as how is their day going, how they're feeling. Even something as simple as asking them have they ate in the morning. Just trying to keep that open line of communication with them, building a level of trust.
And so safety at school definitely matters. Safety en route home from school also matters as well, because if where students are concerned about that, the closer you get to that time, that's where the attention is going to be, even when they're sitting in the classroom.
If the kids don't feel safe, if the climate and culture for them is not safe, then they're not going to be engaged and they're not going to perform well on their tests. And so we don't want them to be in that situation, so we want them to know that we are here for you to support you in the mental capacity. And if you feel safe coming to school, then it should produce some great results when you get into your academics, into your testing.
That's my first priority, to make sure not only the kids feel safe, the staff feel safe, parents feel safe when they come in this building. That's just how I am. I welcome everybody. I just put their shoes in my shoes. Just like if my son in school, I would want him to feel safe while he's there. So while I'm here, I want these kids to feel safe.
Would you please go ahead and rewrite the numbers in your notebook so you have them? -1, 5.
I wanted to make sure that my students used education as a powerful tool, not just to get smart, but to change their environment. I have always believed in constructivist knowledge, so instead of me just giving kids information and them soaking it in, we've seen that that doesn't work with students very well. I have given them the tools to construct their learning. They're standing at the boards, they're talking to each other, they're coming up with more than one way to solve a problem. And I think that helps with the different learning styles because they're not just sitting, reading and writing. They're verbally communicating, they're talking to other people, they're collaborating not only with their team, but they can go check their answers at another board if they need to. So those things are included in those different learning styles. So I do try to do like weekly rewards where I acknowledge kids who've done everything that they're supposed to. And so kids who complete all of their tasks, they are recognized. And every day I'll do a shout out for kids who've been on their A game in terms of behavior or in terms of just trying their best. And a lot of times I'll just pull them aside and just say, I'm really proud of what you've done in class, and just sort of give them benchmarks and goals to work towards. Solving problems is just what we do as humans outside of the classroom. So if you can be resilient and know that like maybe you didn't get it right the first time, you go back and you fix it. So even with their bell work, I'll say, if you don't like the grade, I put a comment, go back and fix it. If you don't like your answer, go back and fix it, redo things. So building up knowing that just because you didn't do well the first time, that's not failure, that's it. It's like evolving, it's an iteration of where you are, and go back and just become stronger and better, and don't look at not doing well the first time as failure.
I see paraprofessionals making a difference every single day. The minute they walk in the door with smiles on their face, they're the first people here greeting our scholars, always offering a friendly hello, hands-on work with these kids all day long.
And they just want all of our students to succeed and enjoy school.
My talent is observing and then applying. So a lot of times in the beginning of the school year, I would observe more, see what they like, see what interests them, or seeing what methods help them calm down or get them to actually learn, like whether it's occupational learning or academically learning.
Listening, being patient, being focused on what the children have to say and responding back to them.
There's like a lot of things I didn't know, like from different cultures. Like I've been learning a lot from them. Like there's a lot of things I don't even know from other countries that I've been learning. Every single day I'm learning something with them.
It just feels really good to be part of a team. And you never know, like I said, you might be doing one thing one day and one thing the next, but it all ends up being part of the, like, it takes a village kind of outlook, and it just feels good to be part of a team.
Thank you, Paras.
Thank you, Paras.
Thank you, Paras.
Thank you, Paras.
Thank you, Paras. I love you.
My name is Barbara Davis, and I am the secretary here at Stephanie Tubbs Jones School. I grew up where the original Superman story was born. It inspired me because Superman is something that is not only big for Cleveland, but inspiration behind the creation of his character really brought inspiration to me in creating my characters. So my goal is to bring awareness to bullying amongst the youth, because I also was bullied when I was a child as well. When I grew up, I didn't have any superheroes that looked like me, and I looked around for them, but I couldn't find them. So I figured I can create them. My girls teleport around the world and fight against bullying mentally with the help of Serenity. I think it's pretty cool that I am able to still carry on a legacy that was built in Cleveland, Ohio, based off of Superman, and me being able to build hopefully the first triplet superheroes in Cleveland, starting from the place where Superman was created, is actually a big deal for me, and I'm pretty sure it's a big deal for our community, for the kids to be able to see superheroes that look just like them.
Going on here today is a Meet the Farmer event. So we have this year partnered with 4 Cleveland growers that grow the vegetables that are on the salad bars that are in some of our schools. And the students can meet the farmer. Today we have Farmer Sarah and Farmer Jamel, and they get to meet the farmer that grows their food. They can ask them questions. We have trading cards, and the students get to try the produce items that the farmers grow, and it just encourages them to try something new, to eat fresh vegetables, and they can meet the farmer, and then they get to vote on if they like the produce item or not, and they get fun stickers, and we have if they write on the board of what they liked about the product.
This is one of the youngest demographics that we can have an influence on, and when you're talking about school lunches, this is food that they're going to be eating daily for a majority of the year, right? And so to be able to introduce local foods on a daily basis to students within the Cleveland area is just evolutionary.
We're talking about the benefits of fresh foods and also the difference between local fresh foods and those you might get, say, at a grocery store that might have been shipped from all over the country or world to get to your plate, often picked months and months earlier and don't have the same level of nutrition or flavor. So giving them that experience of eating something that was grown locally and why that's so important and why it's so important to grow your own food.
It was kind of sour. It was sour. And that was my first time ever trying that, but it had a pretty color.
One of our students, they did something special for someone in the community. And so we get all these people here to celebrate and to recognize what Allison did for someone in her community.
That morning while boarding the school bus, you noticed a small child wandering alone on the street, wearing only a t-shirt. Recognizing the danger the child was in, you immediately alerted the bus driver and took action to help. I want to give you a First District Commander's coin. It's got a 1 on the front for the First District and the seal of the Cleveland Division of Police on the back.
And I saw the girl walk out and the bus driver was about to hit her.
And so what did you say to the bus driver?
I was like, stop. And then he told me, who is that? Is that your niece? I was like, no, that's not my niece. And then I went off the bus to go grab her.
It shows a great deal of awareness and maturity for her age. Most kids, like you say, they're on the bus, they're talking, they're on their phone, you know, and the fact that she noticed, she paid attention, you know, to what was going on at that particular time is just, you know, amazing.
I think it's very important because, you know, we're a community. We work together, we help each other, and that's how we get things done, and she's already doing that. Children can teach us a lot, and I think she did. Be aware, look around, help people when you see them in need.
I don't really care about the gifts because it was just the point to save anybody that need help.
Hi,
Hi, I'm Darielle Snipes with CMSD Communications. Today, I am so excited. I am hanging out with two of the Senate League girls flag football teams, John Hay and Rhodes. This sport is gaining popularity. Right now, CMSD has 7 teams. I'm so excited to learn more about flag football. Let's go. Joining me now is head coach of the John Hay ladies flag football team, Coach Vanetta Kreider. Welcome.
Thank you.
So I know this is an exciting sport. It's a growing sport. It just got sanctioned by the Ohio High School Athletic Association. That's exciting news. So now your girls can go for state championships. But you know, some of us were brand new to flag football. Tell me, what is the difference between flag football and just basic football?
The difference for flag football and basic football for our girls is that we actually get to compete this year. Outside of only using flags and not be able to contact each other, and we have to wear mouthpieces.
Okay, but just talk about the growing popularity of this girls sport and how exciting it is, especially here in CMSD and the Senate League.
Yes, right now it means that girls flag football is now recognized by OSHA. So now we get more opportunities to get school fundings. So luckily we're a Division I school, so we had about 40 girls that come and try out. So this year we were expecting even more.
I mean, what do you think about that more girls want to play football?
I'm excited. I'm excited to teach them and for them to want to be competitive and lead and be outside their comfort zone.
The fact that it's, you know, when people think about football, they think about it as a male-dominated sport. The fact that flag football, especially girls flag football, is taking off, it gives young ladies an opportunity to play what once was known as a male-dominated sport. Can you just talk about that opportunity for them?
Yes, it now gives the girls a platform to compete and lead, and we're breaking stereotypes and proving that football isn't just for boys. Anybody can play as long as you got the passion and the skill for it.
And joining me now are 2 players from the girls flag football team at Rhodes. Welcome. Tell me your names and what grade you're in.
I'm Aaliyah. I go to Rhodes Environmental Studies and I'm in 10th grade.
My name is Naya. I go to RCCA and I'm in 10th grade.
Wonderful. So just tell me, because I don't know, I'm learning, what is the difference between flag football and football?
Well, flag football and regular football, we already know it's not as much contact, but there's a lot you can do. Like the quarterback can't run.
The ball is smaller, less people on the field, so it gives. And flag is it's quick. It's not like football. Football you have more time. Flag is quick, and you have like less time.
Okay, and then you also have the flags. Yeah. How hard or easy is it to get another opponent's flag?
It depends on how fast the person is moving.
Yeah, definitely.
And what moves they're pulling out. But usually, if you're up, if you're catching up to the person, it's very easy. They're not hard to pull or nothing, so.
So tell me, why did you guys want to join the team?
Well, I wanted to join the team because ever since I was very young, I always played regular football with my brothers. And when I got older, I realized it was something I always wanted to do. In 2023, I played flag football with boys, but then I got scouted for a girls team, and we went all the way to nationals in Las Vegas and won a championship ring there. And then when I came here, there was no flag football team, so I asked if I could play tackle. But my mom wouldn't let me, and then I found out later on we had a flag football team, and I was like, oh, this is my sport, so I'm definitely going to play.
I also feel like a sport that was really made for boys that girls never really got the opportunity to play. When I saw it at Rhodes, I feel like a sport that was always classified as a boys sport, girls being able to play, I feel like that was really cool, so I really wanted to take that opportunity to play. And also, Coach O'Neill, she really inspired me to play. She was the assistant basketball coach, and it really gave me something to do, and now it's something I really would do the rest of my years in high school and see where it takes me.
Right, so this is the 2nd season for the team. Just talk about how fun it is and just the team camaraderie that you ladies have.
It was very fun. In the first year, it was some rough patches, but we always got through it. Our coach, she's a very great coach because she is more informational about flag football than basketball. So when she is out here, she put her heart on the field just like we do.
Yeah, Coach O'Neill, she really great. She keeps us all lifted up. Something could go wrong, and she was always bringing the joy. It was our first year was really fun. We went real far, and just seeing where it took us, it made me excited for the next season to come. What we gonna bring to the table, and flag, I didn't expect it to be I thought it was just gonna be something to do. But when we actually started playing, I'm like, this fun.
All right. Now, another difference is that flag football is played in the spring and not in the fall like regular football. Well, can you just talk about the fact that now it is a sanctioned sport, and so now you guys can go for a state championship? Just talk about you guys could be the state champs.
That's very exciting to me because, like I said, I always love football in general. So for me to have this opportunity to probably ever get scholarships to play in college is just like something I want to achieve.
I think that's really good. Like it opens up more opportunities for the girls and gives girls something to do, because we always, as a girl, we always like doubt it, or we don't always get as much opportunity. So it just opens the door for girls sports.
Now, it's still, even though you guys don't have pads and a helmet, it still can be tough. I mean, it's still, it's still a contact sport. Would you not say?
Like you're definitely gonna fall. You're definitely gonna
get bumps.
But it's fun.
Yes, it's very exciting.
All right. Well, thank you, ladies.
The Board of Education's job is to make sure that the right adult behaviors are in place so that students can learn and grow in school every day.
I hope to motivate the scholars in some form of capacity, really to make sure that they're inspired by the work that we do for them. This is a job of service, a fully volunteer role, but the people that are serving on the board, myself included, are doing it out of passion and pure hope of the scholars' futures. And so I hope that they start to believe in themselves the same way that we believe in them.
Having been an educator all my life, I thought I would have a significant role to play in shaping what our young people and young scholars and our future leaders are going to be doing with their education. I believe in paying it forward, and I still believe I am paying it forward for myself.
I'm an inveterate volunteer, and so I saw this as an opportunity to give back to the Cleveland community and try to make a difference.
I enjoy being engaged with people in my neighborhood, hearing from them, learning what they think about different things, hearing suggestions, hearing thoughts, even the complaints. I enjoy engaging with the students, and I think that's my role with being a board member, is engaging with the community in every way possible.
I'm out there every day talking to people, sitting on every community work group that you can think of. What I want to accomplish is that we level up the opportunities for our children to receive the best education possible. And I want you to be able to discover all the goodness in you, because we all have something that is unique about us. So we want to give you the opportunity to explore that and make good decisions once you leave the school system.
I believe that this district can be a premier district, and I'd love to be remembered for pushing a standard of excellence.
I wanted to give back to the school system that I participated in from kindergarten to graduating senior. I'm hoping to make a difference, have a positive impact, and see the test scores and graduation rates increase. I also hope to inspire other CMSD alum to give back to CMSD with their time and support.
I'm grateful to interact with so many wonderful people, brilliant individuals who have the capabilities and skill sets to really make our city even greater. And I'm just honored to be a part of the plan of the CMSD and the service of this community.
As a kid myself, I moved around a lot and I went to a lot of different schools. And what I saw firsthand is that all children are born equal with the same rights to education, but not all schools are created equal. And some schools have more resources than others, some schools have more of the right practices than others, and I wanted to be a part of making sure that our school system was the right system for our children so they could have the education that they deserve.
We all have different skill sets, different experiences, different backgrounds that we all bring to the table when it's time for us to have these discussions. We bring different perspectives and different life experiences. And so being able to sit at the table with other leaders in our community and people who actually are invested in the Cleveland Metropolitan School District system, it means that we're providing different perspectives. We're looking at it from different lenses and different angles, which is also representative of our community, right?
You know, our students achieving everything that they possibly can, achieving and striving towards our goals and guardrails that our board laid out. I think that you know, producing students that can enter the world in whatever way they choose to and be successful is really the only thing to accomplish from my perspective.
Most importantly is increasing student outcomes. So we have our challenges, but my board colleagues and I and Dr. Morgan and his incredible staff are heavily focused on that, and we're going to do everything in our power to make it happen.
My favorite quote is Man in the Arena, actually. It's by former President Teddy Roosevelt, and it's really about not paying attention to the critics. It's not the critic who counts, it's not the person on the sidelines, it's the person who's getting dusty in the arena every single day and getting back up again and again and again, even after failure. And even if you fail at something, at least you failed by daring greatly. But the only way to be great is to try.
Today it is the last scrimmage to find out who goes to state. It has been a really great journey. It's different learning about STEM and like robotics and tech.
My favorite part about building the robot is all the teamwork it takes. The teamwork, I feel like it brings our team together, and I really like that part.
The robot has to launch artifacts, which is similar to a ball. So they're launching it into a pyramid type situation and get those points, and then you have to line your robot in a certain order to get points. It's a lot of challenges in depth in getting points.
Our robot, it took us a lot of time to really build it. It took a lot of patience. We came across many problems and challenges, like our chain kept breaking, so we had to find a lot of solutions to that problem. And it was a lot of gracious professionalism used.
This is their thing, and they really take it seriously, and they come out and they try, and you just, like this morning, one of my girls did something in one of the presentations, and I started to tear up because I was just so proud of them because I'd never seen this child do this, and she just blossomed right in front of me.
Hey CMSD family, I'm Tiffany, and we are back with our final episode of On Guard, CMSD Safety and Security. Today I'm joined with a few scholars from our Garrett Morgan campus, and they are here to tell us about how our safety officers create a better learning environment and how the feeling of safety helps scholars to learn better. So in your opinion, how does safety officers help to create a better learning environment?
I feel like they make a better learning environment because kids don't have to worry about things outside of school because security already has it like put together and make sure the kids are safe around the campus.
Just to piggyback off what he said a little bit, I agree. Like, you don't have to focus, you can focus on learning and learning only. You don't have to focus on anything outside of that.
Yeah, the security officers do like help us get to class on time, make sure we aren't getting sidetracked. So they help us like push us to our classes to make sure we're on track.
And why do you think having safety officers is important for the school community? So you kind of talked about a little bit about what they do, but what is the feeling that they give you?
It's like comfortability, like which I feel like is really important when you're trying like in a learning institute.
I feel more like I can get like my education without worrying about anything.
Yeah, like it provides a almost like a safety net of knowing that they're there with us to help us if we are having any issues that occur. Yes.
So can you let me know, what do you appreciate most about our safety officers?
I appreciate that you can, like, they're safety officers, but you can also have a conversation with them. Like, they're here to protect us, but they are also, like, they have a character. Like, they are people, so they, like, know how to talk to us because they were once us at a certain point in time. So.
Yeah, like to piggyback off of that, like I appreciate how you can sometimes have a conversation with them if you're ever in need, if you ever need to just like talk about a situation you're having at home or an issue you're having at school, you could just talk to them and they'll give a reply and try to help you.
Yeah, they're really like good. They're really like calm and chill. They like to talk to the students and try to like encourage them, and it's cool.
A big thank you to our safety and security team and our scholars over here at Garrett Morgan High School. Now let's head over to John F. Kennedy. Now we're here at John F. Kennedy High School with a few of our scholars here to tell us why safety and security matters for their learning environment. So first, in your opinion, how do safety officers help to create a better learning environment?
Make the students feel more safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
we
they
need more
like
security guards. Like,
yeah, they help
make us feel safe.
help the teachers sometimes too, the principals.
You're more comfortable. You ain't got to worry about people coming here doing stuff they ain't supposed
Crazy
to be doing. You know.
So to feed off that, what do you appreciate most about your safety officers here?
They help a lot.
Like,
well, my bad. Yeah,
I feel like they all like they make sure we good. They help the principal, admin team with the kids, and
Yeah, we got a good bond with them too. Yeah. Some of them take their job too serious, but that's good
because we need that. We need that
Yeah.
like that structure.
Do you think, in your opinion, feeling secure helps students learn their best?
Yeah. They ain't got to worry about nothing like no danger or nothing like that.
Yeah, you don't have a safe learning environment.
I feel like here, like the security guards here, like if we need them, like we could always go talk to them, like.
Yeah, like
and then,
got a good bond with most of them. You know, we knew them for most of the time we've been here, so.
What you see before you is a culmination of 2.5 years of work. But moreover, it was 86 years of blood, sweat, and tears put forth by men and women who comprise the Tuskegee experiment. Let history show that in the course of human endeavor, that never have so many owed so much to so few.
My first reaction was it looked a lot better than I did it in class. It took a lot, and it's just, I'm proud to see that it's up there, and I'm glad everyone else can see it too. I think it's good that the Tuskegee Airmen get their word out and their faces out because they helped this world, and I'm glad that I was able to help them represent it. I've seen everyone do their painting in class. I've seen like their entire process through it, and now looking at it inside the airport, it's like, wow, they did that. That's amazing.
My name is Lori Lane, and this is my father, Earl Roscoe Lane. He was with the 332nd of the Tuskegee Airmen. I think they did a fantastic job in doing it. I know when I was speaking to a group of them, they said they did a lot of research on it, but they were so open to listening and to learning more so that we have more young people that are able to display their talent, learn, and it's one, as a teacher, I know it's one of the greatest ways for students to learn, and for this will stay with them for the rest of their lives.
I'm very happy today because I am sharing the CEO seat with a very amazing young scholar. She attends A.B. Hart and she's in 7th grade over there. This is Victorious, she goes by Tori Blackman, and she's CEO for the day. So CEO Blackman, yes, let's give her a hand.
I have been going to meetings and hanging out with some of the high schoolers and thinking about what high school I want to go to and just having fun with them.
To be a leader, you have to step in. It takes boldness. It takes not being afraid. And so far, Tori has been stepping up to the plate and showing that. Having a scholar with me has been amazing. And I mean, she was at the table earlier today with some of Cleveland's top leaders, and just being right at the table just means a lot to have that seat at the table. And so, and to be a young scholar, young lady of color, that just means a lot when we think about representation.
So today we started on our robots. Well, we started on our robots like 2 days ago, but today we added like our finishing touches, and we made them waterproof with pool noodles. We attached motors to them with wax in it, so it's waterproofed. And those motors spin at a very high speed, so it can propel itself through the water and able to do its tasks. It's so cool because usually robots are like on the surface, right? This time it's underwater, which makes it harder to see, but more funner because like you don't know what's gonna happen.
The machine itself, you can program it first from your computer. Once you access, this is via Bluetooth. Basically you can control it from there and automate it wherever program you want to, set it at a specific time. Experiencing all of this, I've actually had a lot of fun being able to come up here and just learn about a machine. And I've personally been part of a robotics team, so being able to experience a machine automating other stuff like agriculture is a really good experience. I had a lot of fun.
So I just got to Cleveland.
I just wanted to come out and see y'all. We working out every day. We got a purpose. We got something we trying to accomplish and achieve. But I'm trying to bring Cleveland, of course, a Super Bowl. What inspires me to keep going, I would say, knowing I got a lot of people watching me, knowing that I'm a positive influence to the youth. That's why I say what keeps me going. So like even coming here, seeing y'all.
You go to the website, you type in the access code, and you're in. Your kids' pictures are there, and you could easily, I have kids at 2 different schools, you can easily switch from school to school and keep up on top of it.
Everything's right there. Like everybody always has their phone with them, so you can easily access it to your phone.
It's a relief for me knowing that my child has the best chance that they can, knowing every day they wake up, they can go to school and, take advantage of the day.
The winner of the first annual Rise Pitch competition is, drum roll please, Riverside! Rise was birthed out of an opportunity that we thought was very, very important for us to be able to give students the opportunity to have their voices centered. So we asked them a question. The question is, if you could solve a problem in your community with unlimited resources, how would you do it?
I'm 13 years old in the 7th grade at Elmira Elementary, and our group is excited to be here today to share our opportunity for action. I feel like that our gaming lab will help a lot of students because of these new technology industries that are coming from these foreign countries, which can excel our students and improvise them and get them set for life.
As a basketball player myself, sports helped me with a lot of team.
We don't really need Dr. Morgan. The board is now back in public session. The chair will now entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.